I been building up the blocks like a me. Elliot got water dripping out the city. Oh my God, boy he got a God. Oh my God, boy that boy on top. Sippin' walk, make my heart stop. All these hoes, yeah my love my God. Yo, let her go, put her on roll, put that on payroll, put that on go. Yeah she like to go, yeah she love to blow. Get that dick slow, like snow cone. Yo, get that bag, show 'em how to ball. I'm in the mall, you know what I'm saying? Give me a minute, yeah, I need a minute, I'm in a minute, I'm need a minute, I'm gonna tell you, hey, Cardi B and Pippin, Cardi B and kick the shit in, yeah, give me a minute.
invitation to the Maldives, year-round with resort credit, exquisite dining, and more.
Hello, hello. Let me see. Hello, hello. No, y'all can't hear me. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. You can hear me now? Yeah, I think you can hear me now because I can see like the thing moving with the mic. So I was talking all this time about Caden Proctor, and none of it went through. Okay, bet. All right, we'll restart. But like I said, with Caden Proctor, 6'7", 350 pounds. Man, I gotta log in to watch the video. But that's JC Latham, the tackle from the Titans, who got drafted in the first round. Similar to Caden Proctor. JC Latham, he got better towards the end of the year, but he's still not that player that the Titans are expecting to be getting when they drafted him out of Alabama. But he still has potential, a bigger tackle that really needed help in regards to his technique. But I feel the same way with Caden Proctor. But if you just have the right offensive line coaches to help out the offensive lineman, I think Caden Proctor will be at least an average to a very good offensive lineman in the NFL, in my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Caden Proctor. He went through his IG. Let me go through his draft profile again since I was on mute. Caden Proctor, like I said, 33-inch arms. 34, chef's kiss. But 33, we could work with that. And like I said previously, will become a good starter within 2 years. Within 2 years. So he has to get in the NFL, get acclimated to playing that type of competition. And I think he'll be just fine. A guy 350, strong as an ox. He should have a good anchor. He can move one, space two. So he doesn't really have to eat those bull rushes. He could be moving out in space, and a DB is going to see a lineman this big trying to block him. The only thing you can do is dive at his knees or something like that because, ain't no way you're going toe-to-toe with a tackle that's 6'7", 350 pounds. When he retired, hey, Hayden, we'll take you as a security guard, fam. You got the perfect size to be a security guard if football don't work out. But I'm pretty sure football will work out with the size that you have. I'm pretty sure about it. And like I said earlier, the bench, with a guy his size, 30. You got to give me 30. But 25, we could work with that. You could work with that. This guy, like I said, all you got to do is coach him up, and he could fit into any offensive scheme. Any offensive scheme at any position on the offensive line. Center, I think he had a few snaps at center at Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did, but I wouldn't do that off rip. I'll just do that if we have to. Like I said, if Aaron Brewer gets hurt, and you don't trust Andrew Meyer, put Caden Proctor in. You got to put your best five at every moment. Your best five at any moment, just so we could open up lanes for Devon A-Chain, But I give this pick a B. I don't know about you guys, but I give this pick personally a B. Personally. Before I move on, we got 5 people. Please leave a like and comment so I can get back in the algorithm with YouTube. I haven't been on here in a long time, but I'm gonna always have this page, and I'm gonna always be talking about the Dolphins. So I appreciate the people who stick around and still watch me when I pop up every once in a blue moon. But I will be consistent sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later, for sure. for y'all, man. I appreciate and love all y'all. Y'all been here with me since day one. So I owe it to y'all in regards to talking about this team, the Dolphins, my favorite team. Um, we got some stuff on Twitter. Let me go to it real quick. Uh, 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 hold on 1 second. Okay. So we got some clips of Caden Proctor that we're gonna check out. See what we're working with in regards to tackles. Right here we have Caden Proctor versus R. Thomas. I forgot his full name, but this guy, I wanted the Dolphins to get him. This is an explosive pass rusher. Explosive pass rusher. So him going up against speed, you would really want to see that. I feel like he could handle the power edge rushers, but it's just the fast guys that I don't know about yet. But he has shown, especially in these matchup with these type of edge rushers, that he could hold up. So we just got a few clips of that here. Pretty good feet for a guy 350. He's not fast, but he got pretty good feet for a guy who's 350 pounds. Mason Thomas, look, he know, like, I'm not going to go through you, so I have to find a way to get around you, and he can't find a way. The guy's just too big. He's too big. Like, I would dare you to bull rush a guy like this. If you're confident in your strength, try to bull rush him. See what happens. All you got to do is work your best move, and even if you try to use your speed, you're going to underestimate him thinking like, man, this guy over 350 pounds. No way he's going to be able to block me. But look, so definitely potential there in my opinion. Here's J.C. Latham when he was at Alabama talking about Caden Proctor.
I mean, that's the standard. Grass isn't always greener in other places. So when things happen, and you think that it might be better somewhere else, you get to find out the hard way that that's not ever.
So with Caden, I think he transferred during his time in Alabama. Came back. He just saying that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So the transfer portal has been a big thing in college football these past few years. So, not surprising in regards to all these kids, finding new homes. So,
time seeing their nameplate in their. Well, a special day for a lot of these rookies, putting on an NFL uniform for the first time, seeing their nameplate in their locker and their jersey number. Coming out here and trying to compete. John Eric Sullivan, the general manager, mentioning before the draft, these guys will see the field this year. So all these rookies getting a first taste of the NFL life at rookie minicamp. The new regime of head coach Jeff Hafley and general manager John Eric Sullivan watching on as their new crop of players try to build a foundation for this team. Notably.
So Caleb Douglas. I'm going to talk about him tomorrow. He's not on the list today. He'll be on the list tomorrow. But with Caleb Douglas, I kind of prefer Chris Bell a little bit better. I'm not even going to lie. But we'll make Caleb Douglas work. In my order, I think it's Chris Bell, Kevin Coleman, I think that's his name, the receiver from Missouri, and Douglas. That's my order. Everybody has their different preference in regards to which receiver they like the most out of the three that we drafted. But, based off the upside, I think Chris Bell has the highest upside. Kevin Coleman has the second highest upside, and Caleb Douglas has the third highest upside. I could be wrong. Maybe Malik Willis feels more comfortable with Caleb Douglas. Maybe he feels more comfortable with Chris Bell. Who knows? But we're going to see which receivers step up in that receiving room because we don't have a receiver one right now. We got a lot of twos and threes, but we're trying to look for that receiver one and then build up off of that. That's why we took so much shots at receiver in the drafts, just so we could be sure, like, if any of these guys hit, we got at least one receiver that we can trust to be anybody's cornerback one. So you're taking multiple shots at receivers, hoping one pans out. I feel like that was the technique in regards to getting those three receivers later on in the draft. But shout out to Caleb Douglas. I'm hoping all these guys make the team. I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys will make the team that we drafted. So pretty confident in that.
With first-round picks, offensive lineman Caden.
But somebody got to drug test him. Somebody drug test this guy right here, man. Why is he this big? Let's shout out to Crazy Dolphin. Much love and appreciation. Crazy Dolphin. No matter how long I'm out, Crazy Dolphin, he here. And shout out to Stan for pulling up on me. Appreciate you, Zo. But yeah, man, Caden Proctor, bro. You see how thick his arms are? His arms the size of a leg. An average human's leg is this size right here, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, he looked this big. It looked like he could bench 225 40 times, but he got put for what was 25 reps, right? 25 reps. He looked like he could do 40 reps right now with one arm. He could do 40 reps with one arm right now. That's what it looked like. For sure. But yeah, man, I don't know what they feeding these kids nowadays, man. This guy's just humongous. Born in 2005, you this big already? You this big already? I'm still trying to grow one more inch, and you already 6'7", 350. It's crazy, man. It is crazy.
Offensive lineman Caden Proctor and quarterback Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson, he got that name. I like the name for a DB. We're going to be talking about him next. But Chris Johnson, technician as a cornerback. I don't know if he could come in and step in and be that cornerback one right away. But I feel like with a few years within the NFL, we should be able to see improvement in Chris Johnson's game to be at least an average player. So I see the same thing with Caden Proctor, but Caden Proctor, he's going to be more predicated on the coaching that he gets. Chris Johnson, I feel like he'll be okay just in general, no matter the coaching that he gets. Just give him a year or two in the NFL, let him go up against the best receivers just so he can see the best of the best. So everything else is light work to him at that point. Him playing at San Diego State didn't really help him a lot. I appreciate his loyalty, staying stuck to his school and not switching up. But that kind of hurt him in regards to not going up against really good talent. So that's why he probably fell a little lower out of that first round. No, we got him in the first round, but he could have got picked higher, but he fell just because of him playing at San Diego State in the competition that he got over there. But yeah, Crazy Dolphin, these guys are big, man. These guys are big. I'm glad I don't play football no more, seeing how big these guys are. I'd rather cover football and not play it. That boy DG back. Let's go. Appreciate it, family. Black 305 Day. You let me know what to call you. I've been working behind the scenes. trying to get my career right, and I think I got it down, so I'll be slowly jumping back into the Dolphins world. I feel like I could turn this thing up right here. I feel like the streets need me. The streets need me, man, to talk about the Dolphins. If I don't talk about the Dolphins, it's something's not right, man. It's like I have an itch to talk about the Dolphins. That's how big of a fan I am. So I'm glad to be back. Y'all are definitely day one for sure. And I do this before anything else for sure. For sure. Spinach like Popeyes. Yup. Yup. All the time I eat spinach, I don't get that big. That left side gonna be crazy. 6'7", 340, 350 plus. Shake my hand plus all pro. Brewer, stop it if you can. But here's the thing I don't like. Patrick Paul, 6'8". Okay. Caden Proctor, 6'7". Okay. Aaron Brewer, 6'1", 6 foot. So you see that big drop off in regards to our left guard, our left tackle in the center. So that height and weight difference, I don't know how I feel about it, but just as long as them boys are blocking for Devon A-Chain, I can really care less. I can really care less. DG will be on here around the same time, daily or weekly. I wouldn't say daily, probably every other day or daily, but I'll try to do like 3 to 4 times a week. I could definitely manage 3 or 4 times a week. So I'll try to shoot for that number right there. I try to shoot for that. You are needed, bro. I appreciate to hear that. Not a lot of people tell me that. The more I hear that, the more I'm entitled to actually come on the stream and talk about this team. Y'all gotta let me know y'all need me. If y'all don't let me know y'all need me, then I won't feel like I'm needed. Then I won't hop on. So I appreciate that, Crazy Dolphin, and I'll definitely be back. And hey, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Do you think, my guy? Definitely will. You do great film analysis. Yeah, I got that a lot back in the day when I was doing it. I got that a lot. But I stopped. I'm a student of the game. I love the game. I may not be right all the time, but I try to do my best just based off my interest of this sport right here. I try to do my best. That's cool. Weekly, 3 times a week. Yeah, that's not too shabby. I've been talking with CB as well. CB, he'll be back sooner rather than later. We just got to see with his schedule. CB, he got his own stuff going on with his son. Probably going to be a very big time football player in the future. With me, I got like a sports media page that I'm running right now. So I'm consistently at different high school games, college practices, so on and so forth. So I'm building that network with the athletes. So that's what I've been doing now. Brewer, if not mistaken, might be top 3 center in the league, and they all 3 get up to that second level to block. Yeah, so that's the thing with our O-line. All the guys are good enough in regards to movement to get to that second level. Patrick Paul, he can move even though he's big. He's pretty agile on his feet. Same thing with Caden. Same thing with Aaron Brewer. Jonah, he needs some work, but he's okay. One thing I've been hearing people say about Jonah is in regards to that Samoan culture. They're a little bottom heavy, so with them moving around, it's kind of hard for them, and I kind of see that based off history and all the Samoan guys that I've seen play in the NFL. Definitely, more stockier guys. But I do think that Jonah will work. We got him with a high draft pick. The name seemed like he's gonna be a dog. Jonas Sanem. I'm not even gonna say his last name, but it seemed like he will be a dog. The right tackle, Austin Jackson. I don't know about Austin Jackson, man. I do not know. I do not know. Austin Jackson, he's the only, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only lineman that was here during the Brian Flores regime. So I think his time is up pretty soon after this year, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see. I'm glad to see Jonah going back to his natural position at right guard. So I'm guessing that's set in stone in regards to him going to right guard instead of staying at left guard. Yeah, so if we got to do that just so we could put Caden Proctor at left guard, then do what we got to do. Before anything else, make sure you put Caden Proctor at the right spot. As of right now, we know Caden Proctor will not be playing left tackle. We know Caden Proctor will not be playing center. Those are the two guaranteed spots we know Caden Proctor will not be playing at. So it's either going to be left guard, right guard, or right tackle. Those are the three. So anybody's job could get took. Jonah, your job could get took. Austin Jackson, your job could get took. I don't know who else is in competition. We got the guy DJ Campbell that we got from Texas, so he should be in the running to be like a swing guard. I don't see him as a tackle based off his film, but he could be a good swing guard for this team with his size and stuff like that. His nuts gotta drop. He be all right. Hopefully he ain't Eichenberg. I doubt that. I doubt that, but hopefully not. We cannot afford another Eichenberg. We cannot. Oh, I didn't finish this, but let me finish.
Quarterback Chris Johnson.
Had a good day. I had some good preparation. It's hot out here, but I hydrated pretty well, so I feel really good.
I guess technically my first NFL practice in the books, but, just looking forward to ramping it up and being the older guys.
While the on-the-field performance is important, so is the playbook for these rookies.
I think it's just acting like a pro. They've been, ever since we've gotten here, it's all about being a pro, showing up on time with a notebook.
And this rookie experience extra special for offensive lineman Boca Raton's Kevin Klein, the Boca Christian product, signing as an undrafted free agent. What does it mean here as a guy who grew up not far from here to now don this Dolphins jersey?
Yeah, it's like a dream growing up playing in the NFL, but you never know if you're going to end up where you grew up, and it just worked.
Wait, who's 79? Was it? Is this like a UDFA? I don't know.
Out like this way, and I'm excited to be here, excited that I'm so close to my family, able to go see them on weekends.
And an injury update on third-round pick Chris Bell, the receiver out of Louisville, was on the bike and stretching, but not a full participant in activities on this Friday. Reporting in Miami Gardens, I'm Yanni Caracas, WPBF 25 Sports.
Dang, so Chris Bell, he's still recovering from his injury. That's tough. But, I'm still confident in him coming back. Hopefully the injury doesn't linger throughout the season and he ends up getting injured again. That's what we got to pray for. But, Chris Bell, that Deebo Samuel type of player, big guy. And I think he could be a good asset for the team, especially if you're not even passing him the ball. Similar size to a tight end, a very strong receiver that could block on the edge and, help open up lanes whenever we pitch the ball to A-Chain on the outside or throw a screenplay to A-Chain. We got a big receiver that can block, and we got good old linemen that can move in space and go out there and block for Devon A-Chain. So that's really why you really want to get big receivers. Plus, they could probably high point the ball pretty well. Pretty well. A 79 is Kevin Celine tackle. Is this a UDFA guy? It seems like it. It seems like it because he wasn't in the picks that we picked, and pretty much. What else?
Oh,
Caden, he could dunk too. He can dunk.
athletic he is. He sent me this yesterday, you guys. Look at that guy. Whoa! Caden Proctor, folks, throwing it down.
Whoa! Man, 350 pounds dunking. I'm 200 pounds. I can't even dunk. I could touch rim, but I can't dunk. 350 pounds dunking.
Down, the big boy. Forget about that weight. He's going places.
It's like the tractor trailer, right?
That was.
Athletic he is. He sent me this yesterday, you guys. Look at that guy.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. I gotta do better. I can't be letting somebody who's 350 be able to dunk before me. No way, man. No way. But that's a lot of power coming from your body to be able to jump and dunk at 350. That's a lot of power coming from your body. We got our cornerback. I like that pick. Just imagine if they drafted Patrick King Jr. We good with Juju. If it's at, yeah, exactly my point. I can't rely on Brent to stay healthy. I can't rely on that. Yes, from Boston College. Okay. I'll probably cover him when we do the UDFAs. I'll probably cover him. That's crazy work. Free Willie. Yup. Here's that Alabama play where he caught the ball and scored a touchdown. So I'm definitely sure that we're gonna see some packages like this with Caden Proctor. Bro, it's just he's too big, man. Too big to take down. Like, look at this DB that tried to tackle him. He just dove at his knees, but nothing happened. He still stayed up. The only way to take that guy down is by picking up somebody else and throwing that person at him. That's the only way to take Caden Proctor down. If not, he's going to score that touchdown in goal line situations. Why run the tush push when we got a 350-plus pound lineman that can actually move? So I see the Dolphins practicing plays like that with Caden Proctor to the point where I could see him getting at least 2 to 3 touchdowns on the year. I could definitely see that. A SEC coordinator said he has more potential than production. He's a big, strong kid that's athletic. I didn't think he was always as dominant as he should have been for his traits. Exactly right. That's what I mentioned in regards to him, not living up to the height and the weight. But like I said, let him get acclimated to NFL. Let's see how easy it is for him, based off his size. And then we'll teach you all the technique stuff afterwards. But right now, we're trying to hone in on your size and your athleticism to see where you'll be a good fit at. I think for his career, it got to be guard. But he may move to tackle if it calls for it. That's what I believe. Here you go. There's another video on him. He got 1972, printed on his fist. That was the year the Dolphins won the Super Bowl. Interesting, isn't it? Maybe this is a sign that, hey, the Lord was telling us, like, this is the guy that we needed on the offensive line. Maybe he came in for the pre-draft interview. He put his arms on the table, his hands on the table. And the Dolphins were like, hey, what's that on your hand? And he's like, oh, it's just a date, a year of something that happened in my life, in 1972. And the Dolphins like, man, that's the year that we won the Super Bowl. They might put two and two together, like, hey, we gotta get this guy with the first pick. Even though we had Ruben Bain on the board, even though all you good players on the board, we had to get Caden Proctor because he has 1972 printed on his fingers. That could be the thing. Were they gonna use him as the designated tush push? I wouldn't. You could use him as the designated tush push, or you could run the same play that Alabama did. Throw him a screen pass on the outside and let the receivers block for him. The receivers. I'm pretty sure the receivers could block DBs on the outside, and I'm pretty sure if a receiver comes free, they're not going to be able to tackle Caden Proctor. I'm pretty sure about that. So that's a pretty good play right there. I like that play that Alabama ran with Caden Proctor.
350-pound man he's unique.
Here's our GM talking about Caden.
He's unique. He's rare. He's a 350-pound man with unique athletic traits that can play 4 spots across the line of scrimmage. The left tackle, right tackle, both guards. The athletic traits for a man his size are through the roof. I know there's been some questions about his weight. It's well documented, and obviously we were very aware. We did our due diligence with our resources. We feel really good about where he is at with that, and we brought him in on a 30 visit. I could feel his conviction and his desire to be a good football player and do the things that he needs to do to be the best pro that he can be. All I can tell you is that there wasn't another one in the draft like him, period. He's unique. He's rare.
But I still think we're going to regret not getting Ruben Bain. He's going to make us pay. He's gonna make us pay. I could see Ruben Bain getting double-digit sacks in consecutive years in the NFL. I could see him hitting like 14-plus sacks one time throughout his career. I could see Ruben Bain getting over 100 sacks in his career. I could see that. So I don't know, man. I like Caden Proctor. But, Bain, man, I had a conviction with Bain and his demeanor. We kind of pissed him off when we passed on him. Kind of pissed him off because you got to remember with Bain, he came from Miami Central. Out of Miami Central, he committed to the Miami Hurricanes. After the Miami Hurricanes, you probably kind of guessing that he's telling you like he wants to stay in Florida. He doesn't care about leaving to go out of state. He's like, man, Central to Miami Dolphins. That was probably his dream, to be like a hometown hero on all 3 levels. Maybe find his way to Miami in the future. Who knows? But I would have loved to see Bain in Miami, but it didn't happen that way. But we got another edge guy later on in the draft that we could definitely talk about, and he's gonna be on here today. We will talk about him today.
I'm going to give them 17. The Detroit Lions will select. I'm going to give them an offensive lineman because I think they have needs there. And this one, again, maybe it's a little earlier than others have.
Look, can I get – I'm going to write it down here. Hold on. I'm just going to write it down.
With the 17th pick,
Go ahead.
Detroit Lions select a 358-pound massive humanity named Caden Proctor out of Alabama, and you did it. That's right.
I was told the other day that whenever you're doing these exercises going forward, Proctor, that is the absolute floor. He will not get by the Detroit Lions. I love it when we're getting the same stuff.
Just saying. We know our stuff. Let everyone else put Caden Proctor in the 20s and 30s. Caden Proctor to the Lions at 17.
Yeah, he's got great feet. He showed up last year at 390 pounds and then didn't play well early in the year and then was able to get back in the 350s and played well as the season went along.
That goes to show you, we're probably hoping that he can get to that 330 range, and we'll probably get a better version of Caden Proctor, especially if we're going to be in an offense where we want the offensive linemen to move around more, then it might be the perfect fit to get Caden Proctor to that weight, so we could be that better offense with him at that 330, 325 weight. Right here we have Jarvis Landry and Leonard Fournette, two LSU legends. And, Landry played with the Dolphins. You can see the helmet on the back right here behind him. Fournette, he played with a few teams, the Buccaneers, the Bills. Was it the Bills? Yeah, I think he played with the Bills. Who was that other team he played with? I forgot. But let's hear what they had to say about the Caden Proctor.
I pick. Can we talk about the Dolphins and, Caden Proctor? I love that pick.
Tell me about him. Talk more.
Listen,
talk more about him.
He first got on my radar when he caught the pass. Big boy, running up the sidelines, doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And watching him, because that what got him on my radar. Him catching that pass, and first of all, his big ass catching it for number one. A lot of big guys don't got the hands.
100%.
He got the touch itself.
I love the pick. Miami Dolphins, the GM. Hey, he doing amazing. Amazing. I ain't gonna say he should have had a job a long time ago, because you're right where you need to be. But this guy, Caden Proctor, you know who you remind me of? One of your former teammates. Think about it. Who was gifted, could do it all. He could jump out the pool, land on his feet.
Christian Ward.
Cool, athletic, big athletic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what other guys feel about him. A big athletic guy. You can't go wrong with that. A big athletic guy. Here's what Teron Armstead had to say about
coaches in the NFL
Caden
Proctor, that they wanted him on. I had gotten texts from 3 different head O-line coaches in the NFL about Caden Proctor, that they wanted him in their building, in their O-line room. So if the Dolphins didn't take him at 12, he was gone in the next couple picks. No doubt about it, was gone in the next couple picks. It went so far that one of the O-line coaches texted me after the draft, pissed that he did not get Caden Proctor. So take that, do this. I had gotten texts.
You always hear this after the draft or whatnot, but we're never really going to know until these guys go out there and play. We probably, maybe even in the later rounds, maybe that DN we got ends up being a perennial all-pro player. He kind of reminds me of Andrew Van Ginkel, but we're going to get to him in a little bit. But shout out to Teron Armstead enjoying retirement.
Next NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins select Caden Proctor, tackle, Alabama.
Daniel, they talked about wanting to build through the trenches with this new regime. John Eric Sullivan coming in here and making a statement by taking the big man out of Alabama. He is massive. He was a little out of shape at the beginning of the season. He got himself into shape as the season wore on and really played well down the stretch. He's maintained that. He had a very good process working through the spring. And when this guy is dialed in and ready to go, he is impressive. You talk about anchor versus power, that 350-plus pounds, you're going to have a hard time getting through those pads. You want somebody who can move people in the run game. Some teams viewed him as a guard for this reason, because he can displace people in that.
Hey, what else do I have to say, man? He ran that rock. He was running guys over. Yeah, Leonard Fournette, he was that dog, man. He was that dog. But I wonder why he can't get back in the league. It's been hard for him to get back. Oh, really? Yeah, I really liked our UDFAs as well. But we're going to get to that in the next few days in regards to who I like and who I don't like in regards to UDFAs, for sure.
Put out the roster now.
Got Caden Proctor, Chris Johnson.
3-on-3 pass. How was he going to block?
And people didn't know that until I came out there. I mean, my coaches knew.
I'm a natural athlete, and people didn't know that until I came out there. I mean, my coaches knew that.
Sure.
We put a plan in place for me to really just go out there and just handle business. Like I took it all serious, and I had fun at the same time. But also, we knew that it was helping my team. Like I got 3 or 4 first downs. You know what I'm saying? Like those were crucial points in the game, especially the Georgia game, to go set up the game-winning touchdown. So I don't take those very lightly. You know, I take them very serious. I'm a natural athlete.
He got that swag about him. Like if he ends up being a good player, he gonna ask for that bag. Just like Trent Williams been asking for that bag every year to re-up. You know, if he does end up being that good, but he has that Trent Williams demeanor. You know, I kind of get that vibe from Trent Williams. You know, certain tackles in the NFL have that swag about them. I see that swag that other tackles have in Caden Proctor, but you know, he's gonna be a guard too. So he's a player of his own, man. You don't really see guys like this too often. He's a unique player.
Done first day of practice. Lovely weather out here. Excited to be out here, man. Fins up.
Fins up, baby.
Jacob Rodriguez look like a police officer, man. He look like a police officer. He look like he will snitch on the coaches. He will snitch on the players. Hey, man, this guy left bottles all in the locker room, man. You know, got to get him out of here. You know, it seemed like he tapped in with the feds, man. Oh, man. You know, but hey, you in South Florida now? Now we got to see you with the tape, like some waves. Maybe you could get some cornrows. I think Caden, he could get a little twist. You know, he got a good enough hair to do that. But we got to see it with Jacob. Man. But Jacob, he might be my favorite pick. Man. Here you got some more clips of Caden. It's funny sometimes just seeing him do this to SEC talent. His initial punch is deadly. If you get a good hit on you, you either going backwards, he's stalemating you, or I don't know, a pancake. And like I said with the feet, you know, you have so much weight in your body, but your feet are still moving at a good pace. And that's why I'm saying, like, let's put him at guard. If he does real good at guard, we know he will be at least a good tackle. If he doesn't do good at guard, you know, there's a chance that he's not a good tackle, but you can still move him at tackle to see if tackle is better for him. Good. He could lock. True. We're going to need somebody in the locker room. You know, that's the type of leader I want in the locker room. Somebody who's going to snitch, call somebody out for coming to practice late. Jacob Rodriguez, he gonna call you out. Even though he's a rookie, I feel like he's the type of rookie to do everything right to the point where you can't tell him nothing. You just can't tell him nothing. Oh, that's the nickname, J-Rod. I like that. J-Rod. We're going to get to him next, though. But, yeah, Caden Proctor, man. Big guy. You know, only trust like 2 or 3 guys in the NFL to bull rush him and push him back. 2 or 3 guys that could do that. He seems like he needs work getting to the second level linebackers. You know, but all that's going to take is agility drills, you know, just making sure he can go from point A to point B 2 block linebackers. That's it. That's it. Everything else that's not really coachable, he has it, to be honest. He has it.
Guys, it's the top of the top. It's been my dream. It's been the ultimate goal of everybody here working at Sports Academy is to go to the NFL. Now that it's right there, like it's so exciting to me. Greatness, what means to me is like being around those like-minded people.
Y'all see that workout right there? This is a great workout right here, man. This is a great workout right here. You holding the thing up and you got the weight hanging from the bottom. You got the weight hanging from the bottom. It's helping your core. It's helping you have a stronger core. So if somebody's bull rushing you, they can't really push you back because you got your core intact and at full strength with this workout. Beautiful workout right here. I like this. I like this.
To me, it's like being around those like-minded people, like Coach Saban and being around Duke and being around other first-round picks, you know, training with them. Like, you got the top guys in here for a reason. Duke know what he's doing, man. You want to be all-pro. I want to be all-rookie team. I want to be the Hall of Famer by the time it's all said and done. And obviously want to go win the Super Bowl with my team. It's definitely such a blessing to be out there.
Yeah, Caden Proctor, he's special, man. This is Caden Proctor against James Pierce, the rookie sack leader last year. Rookie sack leader with the Falcons. So he has got work from NFL guys before, but he's just gonna have to get acclimated going against them every week, not just once or twice throughout the whole season. You're gonna have to go up against an NFL guy every single week. With this rep, you're showing us like, hey, you're going up against a pretty good pass rusher in the NFL, you know, but we gotta make sure this is not happening every week when you go up against an NFL guy every week. And how you do that, just making sure he's perfecting everything he needs to perfect that's not perfect with him. And that should be the starting point in regards to him. You know, going up against, you know, those Myles Garrett, you know, who else? DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. You know, I feel like he could block a guy like Micah, but Myles Garrett probably going to give him a tough time. Because Myles Garrett, he's 270, but that's like straight muscle. Yeah, Myles Garrett is a cheat code, but we going to see, man. This is a viral video of him blocking 2 guys at once that everybody keep on posting. You know, 2 guys who are in the NFL right now, if I'm not mistaken. I know that's Jalen. I forgot his last name, but he played with the Falcons. And the other guy, I do not know. I don't remember who this guy is, but you know, blocking 2 guys at the same time, you can't be no small tackle when you're doing this. You gotta be a big ass tackle. And that's what Proctor is, and you're seeing what's happening right now. This is Caden Proctor against Kevin Folk.
Snapped, and I just found it so weird.
Hold on. So Kevin Folk, this is the guy that the Titans picked up. A special guy right here. You know, the film don't show it, but you know, very strong guy. I think he squats like 700 pounds at 260. Over 400-pound bench. You know, just a all-around football guy in regards to the measurables, you know, in the weight room, you know, but it just don't show on the field. He's like one of those guys, like, you know, they're strong in the weight room, but they don't play like they're strong on the field. So that's something Robert Saleh has to work on with, was it Kevin? But Caden Proctor is showing you, like, even with a guy with this type of strength, he still is able to block Kevin.
Gives up. First play of the game. Not a good look. Another kind of weird thing about this matchup is they're bootlegging to Falk's side. That's a tight end, just like one-on-one against him. Probably not a sign that Alabama felt overly threatened by Keldrick Falk here. What you're going to notice about this is these two really powerful edge rusher plus the offensive tackle from Proctor. Long arms for Keldrick Falk, but I do think that Proctor shows a really good anchor throughout this entire game. Once again, you're going to see a size-based move.
It's kind of hard to hold back somebody who squats 700 pounds. That's a lot of power in your lower body. But Caden Proctor is showing that he's capable of keeping up with a guy who's that strong. So a pretty good matchup right here.
Gets a little bit of pressure, but not all that close to the quarterback. Once again, bull rush. I think a really good anchor for Caden Proctor there. It's like really hard to move Proctor. Then we get to the run game, and I think that this is a really good rep for Proctor. Keldrick Falk is like billed as a run defender, so the fact that he was able to drive him right there for that rep was really good. Unfortunately, like not that many one-on-one reps in the run game throughout this game, so that's the main one we're going off of. Here is a really aggressive pass set for Caden Proctor. I think that was a pretty big win, and once again, probably a sign that Alabama did not think Keldrick Falk was going to beat him with like a crazy.
And like I said before, like there's a very small amount of NFL guys I think Proctor will have a hard time with. Very small amount, just based off his size alone. Top draft pick. We already watched that. But yeah, we talked about Caden Proctor for an hour and 10 minutes, man. Hour and 10 minutes. But we're going to go to the next person in a little bit. Let me get to this. DG, why would we draft Bain when we went D-line first round 2 times already? If we got Bain, it would have been 3 first round D-line 3 years straight. We got to help Malik with some. But you see the run that happened with the tackles and the picks before us, to the point as to where I valued Ruben Bain more than Caden Proctor. That's why I cared about getting Bain over Proctor with that pick that we had. Let's say if those other tackles had fell, like the tackle from Miami, if he had fell to our pick, then I would have picked him over Caden Proctor. I would have picked Bain over Caden Proctor if they were there on the board, but they weren't. The only person that was on the board was Ruben Bain and Caden Proctor. I would have chose Bain, but they went Caden Proctor. They still need protection. You know, if Bain wasn't on the board, then maybe Caden Proctor still would have been the pick. You know, but that's just my opinion in regards to Bain. You know, I'm happy with the pick either way, but I just feel like, you know, Bain, he's just going to be a generational player, in my opinion. In my opinion. I could be wrong, who knows, but we're going to look in time and see who ended up making that right pick. We will see. Next person we got is, who should I do next? Chris Johnson. We'll do Chris Johnson. Next person, we got our DB, Chris Johnson. You know, San Diego State, small school. You know, stuff that I do like about Chris Johnson. Very great footwork, very good agility, arm length 30. I don't know, man, but his grade shows like he'll eventually be a plus starter. That's what they believe. You know, I think it's going to take a few years for him to get to that level to be a plus starter. But, you know, he may end up being good right away. You may never know. A 4.4 in a 40-yard dash, a 10-yard split, pretty quick with that one. 17 on the bench. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So hopefully that translates to him being a good tackler, He could hold up in the run game. And yeah, 38-inch vertical. That's not bad. That's pretty good right there. Pretty good right there. When you're going up against taller receivers, having that high vertical could definitely help you out in regards to high pointing the ball and being able to um, get the ball back to the offense. Hopefully that production goes up more in the NFL compared to college in regards to him getting interceptions. But when you're a good cornerback, they barely throw your way anyway. So I'd rather you be able to shut down half of the field rather than getting multiple picks, because when you try to get all those picks, you might give up something on the way there. I'll take picks all day for sure. But if the team's not even throwing to your side because they that scared of you, that's a whole nother level right there. You're pretty much helping out the whole defense at that point. So hopefully Chris Johnson could develop to becoming that cornerback number one. Him on one side, Juju on the other side. On paper it looks good, but we just gotta hope these guys hold up. We just gotta hope that these guys hold up. Back in the day we had Sean Smith, Vontae Davis. We had some good duos: Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Xavier and Howard. We always have a good duo at cornerback. So hopefully with this new duo, we could make it to a whole nother level with the guys that we picked up. Hopefully. Does he have a 24/7 account? Yeah, he does. All right, the measurables look the same. He was a 3-star recruit. He looked like he's from Cali. Yeah, he is from Cali. Eastville, Roosevelt High School. Yeah, Boston College, Boise State. Only 6 offers coming out. Only 6. Interesting. And it's pretty cool that he stayed all 4 years, sticking to the plan, trusting San Diego State to get him to the next level, and they did. So a shout out to him and the first round as well. Very rarely a first rounder comes out of San Diego State, but they made it happen. So Chris Johnson, he's in high regards in regards to what he has done so far at his school. High school. I do got some videos of him. All right, so we have Chris Johnson here at the Senior Bowl. Let's check this out. Good feet. Good footwork. That footwork is important, so you can always stay in that hip pocket, of the receiver. You slip up or you trip up once, there goes that separation for that receiver to be open, more open, because you missed that one footstep that you needed to make to get there at the right time to make a play on the ball. And plus he runs a 4.4, so he should keep up with most wide receivers. If he ran a 4.3, man, his stock probably would have been higher. He probably would have got drafted earlier than we were picking. Because if you run that 4.3, you put the pads on, the speed is still there. You're running a 4.4 with pads if you're running a 4.3. So you're running a 4.4 without pads. So with pads, you probably in the 4.5s. during the actual NFL game. So that's still good speed in general, but I'm just speaking it into that aspect in regards to how his speed can hold up as a cornerback. We're expecting cornerbacks to be the fastest people on the field, and Chris Johnson, he's pretty fast. But we're hoping, his speed is good enough to cover any receiver in the NFL. We're hoping he's that cornerback one. So you really got to be damn near perfect if you're going to be that cornerback one. Damn near perfect. That speed is one thing. The instincts is another thing. The length. He's over 6 foot, so he's not that short. But, the arm length, 32, 33, that would have been great. 30, there's some cornerbacks that make it work with the 30-inch arm length. So he could be a very good player, even though he has 30-inch arms. But just based off building that perfect cornerback, you would rather him have those longer arms, but we could still work with what Chris Johnson is providing to us. Here's some more clips of Johnson. Just look at the footwork of Chris Johnson. Look at the footwork. Good eyes. Good job looking at the quarterback. Some cornerbacks, they're not really good at zone. With Chris Johnson, he's a very good zone cornerback. I can see that on film. And I feel like he could play man as well, but he has a really good strength at playing that zone. Pretty good strength at playing that. Y'all let me know what y'all think with Chris Johnson. I could see him playing all over the secondary. Probably not strong safety. I could see nickel and outside corner. Maybe free safety. Seems like he has some range as well if he wanted to play free safety. Yeah, hopefully Juju Brents can stay healthy too. That's like the Achilles heel of the Dolphins right now. Juju Brents working out. Because if Juju Brents works out, we got a cornerback on one side, and we got another cornerback on the other side. And we don't really have to worry about cornerback. We just got to worry about the nickel and the two safeties. We got a lot of guys who's gonna audition to be the starting safeties for us, but we don't have a set person at safety yet. We don't have a set person. John Ross Juju is one of my top free agent picks up this season before. Oh yeah. Juju. I gotta check up on him, see how he's doing. DZ like Needham. Like Nick Needham, yeah, correct. But Nick Needham, you didn't really trust him on the outside. You trusted him at nickel and strictly as that, because with Nick Needham, we paid him like a nickel cornerback. And on top of that, we have Jalen Ramsey on the outside. We had Xavier Howard on the outside when he was here. We just had a whole bunch of other cornerbacks that we would prefer on the outside, and we'll let Nick Needham handle the inside. Plus, Nick Needham, he was a good tackler. He got his hands on the ball very so often. But shout out to Nick Needham. I don't know what team he's on. I think he's on the Vikings. I'm not too sure. Highest graded cornerback in America. Highest graded over anybody else. They're comparing him to Byron Murphy. That's who they're comparing him to. You know, Byron Murphy, when he was coming out, great footwork as well. Reason why he went high. We gotta see, man. You know, I want to see this guy up against Jackson Smith and Jibba. However you say his name. JSN. If you could cover JSN, you could cover anybody. I want to see you against Jamar Chase. I think we do play the Bengals this year. So you got a lot of tough guys to go up against, you know. But I feel like the first 5 weeks of the NFL season will show us if he could hold up or not. Or if he needs like a year to develop, the first 5 weeks will show us if Chris Johnson is at that level. Here's another rep at the Senior Bowl. You know, hit the hit. Hit the hit. No false steps. No nothing. I think that's Romello Brinson from SMU, if I'm not mistaken. And you see how he's not like too grabby. He's just trusting his speed. I like that about him. I like that. Here's another rep. And this is against Kevin Coleman, his new teammate on the Dolphins. That's crazy. Oh, wait, that's not Kevin Coleman. That's Reggie Virgil, the Texas Tech receiver. You see, this was a very good route. You know, this is a route that JSN would run right here. Now y'all see why I would say he's a zone corner, preferably than a man corner. Now y'all see, you know, that was one rep, but at the same time, you know, now we see like what he has to work on, what his weaknesses are, what his strengths. You know, not every player is perfect, so we got to critique him on what he got to work on. But you know, I feel like he can manage as a man corner if he just get taught the right things. And you know, going up against NFL guys who've been doing this, that will help him, you know, excel and become a better cornerback.
He dominated college, but he played in the Mountain West. You were the best player in the worst, not the worst division, but one of the worst divisions. Of course you were good.
I understand what you're saying. This guy knows ball. Ball told me he knows this guy. He knows this guy. And I'm telling you, put it on the dock. Put it on the dock. This guy's going to crush it. This guy knows ball. He knows how to play defense. He knows how to play corner. This guy's going to rock. I'm calling it now.
San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson. I think he dominated college, but he played in the Mountain West. You were the best player in the worst, not the worst division, but one of the worst divisions. Of course.
You see, even other guys are saying it. Let me get to the comments real quick. A shout out to my boy Ralph. Appreciate you for putting up on me. Much love, my boy. Been here since day one. What about Rasul Douglas? He's still a free agent. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins not going to sign him. You know, Sullivan has a relationship with Douglas with him being at Green Bay previously. So it's kind of strange why they haven't brought Rasul Douglas back. Maybe there could be something in the woodworks of him coming back, but I haven't heard anything about that yet. But I would take Rasul Douglas in a heartbeat. I would to bring him back on the team. Um, Let me see. Yo, Dolphins versus Raiders tickets hella crazy. 220 for nosebleeds? That is wild, man. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder, so I don't really got to worry about that, but that's too much. Yes, Mr. Pope. Raphael, I love Chris Johnson's father was a Marine. Okay, that's cool. Okay.
I feel like it was important for me to just finish what I started. I'm kind of big on that. That's where I went in 2022, and I just want to stay there. I also felt like it helped me. That was like my best chance to get to the NFL. And, I didn't want to leave and put a bunch of uncertainties in the air, and because I knew what I was going to do if I stayed. Yeah.
He knew what he was going to do if he stayed. What about if he left? What would he do at that point? Would he be able to manage SEC talent? So maybe him leaving that last year would have been very good for him to get picked higher, get paid more money. But hey, sticking out the 4 years, I'm for that as well. I feel like if you're going to university, you gotta commit to that university for the next 3 to 4 years, and not going to school every year or every other year. I don't believe in that process. So shout out to Chris Johnson showing his characteristic as of him being a down to earth, loyal person, and just sticking to the code that you should. Finish what you started. Simple as that. Simple as that. I know everybody parents tells their kids that as well in regards to advice in the real world. Like, don't just quit just because it's not easy right now. Just keep going. Finish what you started, like he said. Chris Johnson on the lighter side, how good can he be versus taller or bigger receivers? That's another question. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you put him in zone against like a bigger receiver, so at that point, all you got to do is read the receiver and read the quarterback and try to pick out the right time to break on the ball and try to deflect the ball, like giving yourself an advantage to, be in play to make the play on the football, rather than, let's say you're just one-on-one. His size might not help him in a matchup against a 6'6" receiver, 6'7" receiver, 6'5" receiver, but like I said, with him, I want to see him go up against the best of the best. So he has that feeling of going up against, the best receivers. So when it comes to game time, he's not really worried about it. But if he's going to be going up against guys at practice, I don't think we have that top-notch wide receiver one for him to go up against, so he can get better. The last few years we had Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, for guys to go up against to get better, but we don't have those guys no more. We don't have those guys. Joint minicamp will probably go up against a different team, so we could have that good competition for him to get better right away, instead of waiting to put him in a fire before the NFL season starts and he's going up against, Puka Nacua. He's going up against Amon St. Brown, those guys without any, action reps against, the best receivers in the NFL. So I feel like he has to go through that 1 year, and then he'll be an okay player that second or third year with Chris Johnson. Yeah, I think we watched that play. This is against a D3 player. A D3 player. I don't know if this D3 player is that good or Chris Johnson's is that bad, but like I said, it's like a man-on-man situation right here. You're one-on-one, nobody behind you to help you. So really, you just gotta be there just to be there. You know, like he didn't really lose his footwork in the process of this. He didn't, but you know, his length. Let's say if he was a little bit taller, that ball probably coming out. Like let's say his arms were like 2 inches taller. His hand would have got there. Like his hand, let me see. Let me go back. See, as soon as that ball gets there, where he's catching it, he probably would have dropped it as soon as his hands went through his hands right here. You know, if he was like 6'2", you know, 33-inch arms, you know, that's all day. But he's not. But he does a good job of keeping up with receivers, no matter their size or speed. He can do that. But like I said, it's just something that he got to get coached up on. You know, not everybody's perfect coming into the league, so he definitely has time, you know, this summer to see what he could do to get better as a player. I'm good with Chris Johnson for now. Yeah, same here. San Diego State, dope. Aztec helmet, all red with Aztec calendar in the black. C. Johnson, excuse me, versus Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, and Bills wide receivers. Chris Johnson, I like him a lot against Garrett Wilson. A.J. Brown and DJ Moore, I don't know. I do not know. Garrett Wilson, he's a good receiver as well, but based off their body types, I feel like Garrett Wilson would be able to match up well with Chris Johnson. You know, A.J. Brown, he's a bigger receiver, so it's going to be harder for him to, you know, match up toe-to-toe with A.J. Brown. Let me see. With the Bills wide receivers, you know, DJ Moore, he has strength as well. So you can't really, you know, claim that DJ Moore is like a similar player to C.J. Johnson in regards to body stature. You can't really say that. So I think he's going to have a pretty good time with Garrett Wilson, but he's going to have a learning lesson with the Patriots wide receivers and the Bills wide receivers. You know, but we're hoping that he can at least make a few plays against those guys as to where he can just hold up. You know, we know you're not going to be able to lock these guys down completely, but if you could just hold up for us, we can make it work. Like get an interception, you know, a few pass breakups, you know, a game-saving play. You know, you were probably getting cooked that whole game, but you made 2 crucial plays to the point where it helped the team win that game. That's all I could really ask for. And then that year 2, you can go on ahead and lock down the best receivers in the NFL and be that cornerback 1. You know, but we just got to treat this first year as a learning lesson. You know, right now we're slated as one of the worst teams in the league, but, you know, I feel like we have a lot of talent on this team. But we just got to be realistic and, you know, hope for the best for this team, man. Who's your NFL comp of Johnson, Sean Smith? You know, Sean Smith, he was 6'4". So I wouldn't say Sean Smith. He was 6'4". Chris Johnson reminds me of Trent McDuffie, like I said previously. He reminds me of those Washington cornerbacks. You know, Trent McDuffie, Byron Murphy. That's who he reminds me of in regards to his playing style. He was a little slow in locating ball. He was in okay position of D. Yeah, I would say that. But, you know, this is 7-on-7. So, you know, we're going to see how he pans out. We're going to see. There goes that 4.4 that he ran. not the fastest, but linebackers running 4.4 now. Linebackers running 4.4 now. Receivers running 4.3s, 4.2s now. But 4.4 is a good speed for cornerbacks. It's a good speed, but that 4.3 would have been deadly. 4.3 would have been deadly. Would have made you some money. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel about Chris Johnson. We're going into Jacob Rodriguez next. But let me know how y'all feel about this. This pick, I give it an A-. A-. First pick could be this one, A-. Okay. Next guy we have is Jacob Rodriguez. J-Rod, that's who we got. 6'1", 3/8, 231 pounds, 30-inch arms. So his arm length is the same thing as Chris Johnson. Will eventually be a plus starter. I think he's gonna come in right away and prove that he's a very good player. Did not test in the bench, but he ran a pretty good 40 for a guy who's 230, 4.5, not too bad. 10-yard split in 1.6 seconds, 38-inch vertical. He could definitely get up there and catch the ball for sure, based off film. For sure. Let's check out his high school profile. And we're going to check out his Instagram too. He wasn't on 24/7 Sports. He was. So with Jacob Rodriguez, I believe he was at Virginia. Yeah, I believe he was at Virginia. And he was a quarterback. Yeah, he was a quarterback. And his coach got hired at Texas Tech, which made him transfer to Texas Tech to be a linebacker and not a quarterback. And, he made the right choice. And I don't know, maybe we need to start putting quarterbacks at linebacker, because the way Jacob Rodriguez played as a linebacker was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive based off everything I've seen so far on tape of Jacob Rodriguez. He was a 3-star recruit. He was considered an athlete coming out of college, coming out of high school. Class of 2021. He enrolled at Virginia. Even though he came from Texas, he chose Virginia. So he probably has a good relationship with that coach over there. He had 14 offers coming out of high school. He has all passing stats in high school. He was a quarterback, 33 passing touchdowns. This might be his sophomore year. Might be sophomore, junior year. I just want to see him change the mustache. And, you in Miami now, so now you can do a little different, like. Or if you want to keep that cop look, go ahead. But the Dolphins' history with Texas Tech linebackers, it seems like we got to continue this tradition. With Zach Thomas, now we have another great in Jordan Brooks. Hopefully he could be a Dolphin for a long time until the end of his career. And now we got the predecessor to Jordan Brooks, which is Jacob Rodriguez. So, every team has those linebackers that, based off history, does well for the team. And based off everything that Jacob Rodriguez have accomplished, last year, 7 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions as a linebacker. He had DB numbers as a linebacker. DB numbers as a linebacker last year. So I think this is the next guy up. He had the highest selling jersey, one of the highest selling jerseys already, in the NFL. So this is a guy that I really like coming out the draft. Might have been my number one linebacker, to be honest. Very instinctful player. Very instinctful. He kind of plays the game like old school. There's everybody got stuff that they need to work on, but when a player just stands out to this fashion, you just gotta look at him in awe. Like, man, shout out to him, man. Let's see if he got the Instagram here. Is he tagged? A shout out to FinHub. They posted this. Let me read the comment.
Zach Thomas, and he's been a mentor to me, and he's let me reach out to him for any questions I have, and it's a really cool experience to be in this position, to have guys who were in your same spot, and now they're leaning into this experience just like you are right now.
Yeah, so he's already spoken with Zach Thomas in regards to him being a Dolphin. Even when he was at Texas Tech, he seemed like Zach Thomas keeps in touch with the Texas Tech linebacker. So, if there's a linebacker that he really likes, he can put in a word with the Dolphins, and they'll make the choice if they want to bring him in or not, to be honest. Let me look. Instagram. Is this the page? Yeah, this is the page. He just got married. Okay, shout out to you. Just got married. You wouldn't expect a guy like this to be as good as he is, to be honest. And, stand-up guy. Probably would last in Miami. Probably would last in Miami. Probably not worried about the other stuff that happens here. Probably gonna go out fishing, hunting, and that's it, man. And live his best life in Miami and not worry about the clubs or whatnot. I feel like he's gonna be on the same time as Jordan Brooke. Let me get to your comments. Sean Smith was 6'4" out of Utah. Exactly. Chris Johnson only 6 foot, so I don't see the similarities. But yeah, Sean Smith was a still pick shot in him. I actually met him last year in December at a high school state championship game. He was a coach at Chaminade Madonna High School. So shout out to Sean Smith. Yeah, he was Raphael, B+ for Chris Johnson. I give it an A-, close. I believe he will start. He will be start of Jacob Rodriguez was QB in college to LB. Yeah, that's true. Jacob Rodriguez White should have joined Marines. Hey, that would have been a check. The NFL check plus Marines. A+ for J. Rob. Remind me a little of Zach Thomas. You remind me a lot of Zach Thomas, but a little bit bigger version of Zach Thomas. Facts, Christian, Leap, exactly right, Raphael. Flying fighter planes. Not cop look, but 80s. Burt Reynolds type mustache. That might be his next occupation when he's out of here. He might do that, but he's a proud Christian, so I doubt he would do that. Excuse me, I doubt he'll do that. Let's go to Twitter. Jacob Rodriguez, he impressed all weekend at the Shrine Bowl. Not the Shrine Bowl, at the Senior Bowl. Impressed all weekend with his size, his coverage ability, his instincts, everything. Here's some clips of him at the Senior Bowl. You know, he seemed like a hard guy to shake. You know, no matter what you do to try to shake him out his boots, you can't really shake him out his boots. You kind of know what you're doing before you do it. He know which way you're going whenever he's out there playing linebacker. So you can't really outrun him because he's gonna anticipate where you will be at just so he could be around that ball or he can make that tackle. Some guys have a hard time with, you know, shifty receivers that are faster than them. But I feel like with Jacob, he gonna use his brain to make him the same speed or faster than whoever he going up against. He gonna take advantage of that opportunity of even though you're probably more athletic than me, let me get here a little bit quicker just so I could be right there whenever the ball gets to you. So I see that with Jacob, you know, probably is in the playbook a lot, to be honest. Probably is. But he gets his hands on a lot of balls in regards to forced fumbles and interceptions. So having this type of game changer on defense could definitely help out the whole team in general, giving the offense more opportunities to, you know, get a touchdown. So I really love this pick. I give this pick a A plus. A plus. Agree, hella on point on tackling. Great center of balance. J-Rod looks like he can't be juked. Yeah, that's my opinion on him. He can't really get juked that well. He's a good tackler. Good tackler. Who gonna be the Sam linebacker? That's strong side linebacker. Jordan, but you would want Jordan at the middle, you know. So that's gonna be a tough one. Maybe Kyle Lewis or Trey. Maybe those two guys. Maybe that Sam LB. You know, Trey, I see him more as a edge guy. You know, but he could probably convert to linebacker as well if he gets taught correctly by our coaching staff. And with Kyle Lewis, I see him more so of a safety guy. But he could definitely move to that linebacker role and be there permanently. That's what I see with Kyle Lewis. Here we got some more clips of Jacob. Hold on. Number 10. And like he said, he used to play quarterback. And even with him playing linebacker, you can kind of tell he's not worried about the O-line. He knows that the O-line is there, but he can kind of see what's going on just based off looking at the quarterback, the position that he used to play. You know, if you see an old lineman coming at you, it's probably a run play. So at that point, all you gotta do is misplace that old lineman, get behind his back somehow, some way, just so you can see wherever that ball is getting ran to. But if it's pass protection, you know, all you gotta do is sit in your zone, and see where the quarterback could be throwing the ball to. And he does well in both of those scenarios. So he's a good linebacker in regards to passing plays and running plays. So I don't think we're gonna miss a step in regards to passing. You know, he's not the most athletic guy, but he's just so smart to the point where he's not a liability in coverage. He's actually an asset, even though he's not the fastest, even though he's probably not going to be able to cover like, the fast, speedy receivers. He's just going to be at the right place at the right time, and he's going to make plays for this team, man. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm giving him too much clout right now, but, I just like Jacob Rodriguez, man. I'm going to probably get his jersey. Probably. Boom. As soon as he see the lineman blocking down, he knows to run. And he starts shuffling, seeing where the running back is. If it's a pass, they're going to kick slide. You see, even when the lineman coming at him, he finds a way to get around that old lineman and make the tackle. See, lineman came at him. He came at that right angle. Lineman couldn't get him, and he got that tackle. Shuffle. I'm kind of blocking this one. You can't really see this one. Good interception. Being at the right place at the right time. He's very good at that, like I said. He's not going to blow you up, but he's just going to make sure you don't latch onto him. So he's like a very active linebacker. Some linebackers, once they get locked in with the old lineman, there's no letting go. But with Jacob, he knows how to disengage with linemen and make the tackle. I would compare them to AVG, but Texas Tech didn't really use him a lot on the edge, because if you have a guy like this who could make plays on the ball consistently, why put him on the edge? Plus he's 6'1", 230. AVG was like 6'4", 6'3", 240, 250. So Jacob Rodriguez, I'm not seeing him at edge, but I'm definitely seeing him at all spots at the linebacker position. Maybe even dime linebacker. Maybe even dime, put him out there when you need more DBs out there. You could trust him to get his hands on the ball rather than just a nickel or a dime back. You could actually put a linebacker out there that has the instincts to play in that role. So Jacob Rodriguez, he's going to be a versatile player on this defense as well. I feel like if you want him to blitz, he's not the best blitzer, but he's really good at blitzing in regards to just reading the right hole and going through it at the right time. So I feel like he'll be good at timing it, but he's not going to be the best at being the blitzer. We have other guys on the team that will probably be better in regards to sending them out on blitz, but you would rather want Jacob out there in space, seeing everything that's going on, so you want to use him to your advantage and not use them as to where we already have a strength on the team. We need somebody who can get after the quarterback, but we got a whole bunch of other guys that we're going to test out to see if we have a defensive end that could hold it down for the Dolphins this year. We're hoping Chop Robinson could do that. If not, we just need somebody on the defense to step up and be a perennial, elite player that people are scared of. Do we have that person on defense? That person that people should be scared of? Y'all could say Zach Sealer, but I don't know. We had Jalen Ramsey, but he's not on the team no more. Jordan Brooks, I'd say Jordan Brooks is feared. Jordan Brooks is definitely feared.
Yeah, I think.
What sort of linebackers you currently model your game after in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the two in Buffalo. I think Terrell Bernard being Coach McGuire's guy. It's easy to watch him, but then him and Matt Milano, I think they do things really well. Being similar size that I am, I think it makes it easy to watch them and play football the way they do if they play the right way.
When you talk about that, the Bills are switching to a little different scheme with Jim Leonard, more of maybe a 3-4 base defense. For you, does that impact you at all? Can you play and you?
He do look like a Bill linebacker. He looked like somebody that the Bills would get, but thank God the Dolphins got him.
Your scheme or main-based schemes around the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can play, any position that they need me to play. I can play Sam out in space. I can play Mike. I can be the green dot, and I can play the Bill. I think I can play any position that they, bring up to me, and I think I'm very much capable of doing anything. But yeah, it'd be nice to see how they transition to do. I think they're both phenomenal football players, so it'd be great to see how they do this year.
Any sort of linebacker?
Yeah, I heard him. He's willing to play anything. Willing to play anything. He used to be a former quarterback, but watch him drill the crossbar from the 20-yard line. Y'all see that accuracy, right? Y'all see that accuracy. I was watching this. I'm like, man, he proved like he actually used to play quarterback with this story right here. He proved it. This is Lee Hunter, the D tackle that used to play behind at Texas Tech, talking about him.
My spirit. It'll be nice playing over those guys. Just brings this leadership. Lee Hunter, my spirit, energy, and the way I play the game, the way I love the game, into them guys.
Yeah, close by to hometown
yeah,
as
it's
well.
close by hometown, so I enjoy it. It'll be nice playing over those guys. Just brings this leadership. Lee Hunter, my spirit, energy.
Could not have spoken more highly of Butkus Award-winning linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. Inspired him to watch way more film this past year. And what I told y'all, Jacob Rodriguez, he seemed like one of those guys that will be the feds. He will tell on you if you're not doing what you have to do to be a pro. If you're not helping the Dolphins win, Jacob Rodriguez will snitch on you. He will tell management. So, yeah, man, I think we got a leader of men. Butkus Award winner. You can't go wrong with that. Like, man, this is a great pick, man. Great pick. Chris Greer definitely would have passed up on this guy. Chris Greer would have definitely passed up on this guy. Oh, he got a mustache? Nah. I'd rather get somebody else. Oh, he's 6'1". 6'1" linebackers don't work, even though there's a whole bunch of 6'1" linebackers in the NFL. That's what Chris Greer would say. So thank God for this regime for, making good picks, man. Making good picks. That draft with Tua and all them guys completely butchered every pick in that draft class. Every single pick. Now I can say it now, Tua, bad pick. I used to get people who used to be mad at me when I would say Tua's a bust. But look now, he's not on the team. So we're gonna see what he does with the Falcons if he ends up being a bust. But hopefully all these picks we made with this draft, is way better than what we did in that draft class. And I already get that feeling with this draft class being way better than that draft class. That draft class was supposed to change our program. It kind of did, but it didn't. But with this draft class, we're going to see what they can do for us, man, and making the Dolphins, the team that we want them to be, a tough physical team. 2020 draft class, only Austin Jackson, only player on our roster. So, I'm so glad we got rid of this GM. The fact that we got to deal with that right there is crazy. Crazy. You can get one pick right from that draft class, one pick, and we had so much picks. That's crazy. But hey, guys that I'm convicted on, Jacob Rodriguez, Kyle Lewis, that's another guy like right there. Caden, I still got to see it with Caden, but I like him. Chris Johnson, I still got to see it. I like him. That DN from Iowa, I'm kind of convicted on him. Here's some more plays. how do you know the ball's gonna go to the outside? You see this hole open up. Any other linebacker, they probably going through this hole. But Jacob Rodriguez is like, you know what? I've seen this play on film before. He's going to the outside with this. Going to the outside. Boom. Good tackle. I think he got sent out to blitz on this one. Good job getting there at the right time. Good sideline to sideline speed to get to the ball carrier. You know, he's just all around. He's an east, west, north, south linebacker. A guy who can make plays going backwards. A guy who can make plays going forward. A guy who can make plays on this side. And a guy who can make plays on that side. That's what you call a north, east, west, south linebacker. Another play, Jacob. I missed that. Yeah, that was a forced fumble. After his Senior Bowl performance, I thought he was going to go in the first round. After that Senior Bowl performance, I thought he was going to go in the first round. You know, interception, forced fumbles. He was just doing his thing out there at the Senior Bowl. Just doing his thing, man. So, you know, it's very rare that you run into linebackers like Jacob. Very rare. You know, so I feel like in a year or two, 3 years, top 10 linebacker in the NFL. I'm saying it right now, top 10 linebacker. Here's another view of that forced fumble. It's kind of weird how he does it too. Like the ball carrier is running the ball, but they can't really see him while they're running. And he's at that right place as to where he can just hit the ball out. The ball carrier is not seeing them, so they can't really hold their grip on that ball before they see him coming to try to hit the ball out. But he just has a good knack of just being there without letting the person see him when they're about to tackle him. You know, it's different. It's different with Jacob and how he gets the turnovers. You know, he's a special guy in regards to turnovers, and if he does that on a consistent basis, you can't tell me like this kid is not going to be a great linebacker. Can't tell me. This is a safe pick. Safe pick. Not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna get any merchandise, but I'm feeling a J-Rod jersey. Yeah, number 10 too. 10 Rodriguez. Come on, man. Come on, man. J-Rod turnover and tackling machine. Definitely is. DG, please keep the receipt that I came up with J-Rod. Yeah, for sure. I got you. I got you. Here's Zach Thomas actually speaking about Jacob Rodriguez himself. Let's hear what he got to say. The GOAT.
They shouldn't be comparing him to me because the kid, the awards speak for himself. My year, I was like third in voting in the Buckets. Ray Lewis was second. That just shows how hard it is to even get the Buckets. And then he gets the Nagurski, and he gets all these other awards. And so, like I just mentioned, he is a humble guy. And when you have that with talent and a smart player, playmaking player, he's going to be fun to watch in the NFL. I'm hoping my Dolphins draft him. Seriously, he'll be right next to Jordan Brooks, who's another Texas Tech representative. Hopefully we make it linebacker U. They should.
Shout out to the Dolphins, man. You're making the legends proud, man. You're making the legends proud. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for, man. So Zach Thomas, he vouched for him even before it was all said and done. Vouched for him, and look, now he's a Dolphin now. He's a Dolphin now. You know, low key, is 54 retired? Is 54 retired? Because maybe Jacob Rodriguez were at 54. Maybe. They already gave him 10, but you know, it would have been lit if he had 54 on. So lit. So lit.
I stood on purpose. I went out there.
Here's Urban Meyer, you know, former Gator legend, talking about Texas Tech.
You know, Big New, we covered Texas Tech, Coach Stoops, and I stood on purpose. I went out there and stood next to them. They look like an SEC team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is as good-looking team as there is in the country right now. So I got Jacob Rodriguez, the Heisman candidate linebacker that is the best linebacker in America, and David Bailey, the combination of Texas Tech defense. They're for real.
Best linebacker in America last year. Best linebacker. There's a lot of good linebackers. Tony Styles that just went to the Commanders. Harold Perkins, he just went to the Falcons. You know, Jacob Rodriguez, he got that nod. Marino, Zonk, and Bob's numbers are retired. Okay. I just gotta worry about that 54 because you know, if Zach Thomas like Jacob Rodriguez that much, you might as well give him that 54.
As a star of the Senior Bowl this week, tell me what was your missing coming down here, staying all 3 days, being competitive as you've been? What was you looking to prove when you came down here to Mobile?
Yeah, one, I was just trying to prove that I love football. You know, I just want to come out here and compete against the best, and you saw it on the field. You know, but from both teams. You know.
I'm impressed, y'all. First thing he said was, "I love football." First thing he said, man. Wow.
Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, a star of the Senior Bowl this week. Tell me what was your missing coming down here, staying all 3 days, being competitive as you've been? What was you looking to prove when you came down here to Mobile?
Yeah, one, I was just trying to prove that I love football. You know, I just want to come out here and compete against the best, and you know, you saw it on the field. You know, but from both teams, you know, these are the best in the country. So this is somewhere you want to be if you love football, and you know, I'm happy I was here. But yeah, I just want to prove how consistent I could be, and you know, playing an NFL style offense, NFL style defense, and yeah, it's been great.
Gotcha. When I watch your tape, and even down here in Mobile, I see you open up a lot, almost parallel to the sideline and pass coverage downs. Is that something that was kind of taught to you at Texas Tech, or something that you kind of developed on your own watching film? Tell me the kind of method behind the madness on that.
I mean, a lot of it has to do with what coverage you're playing, right? So you play different techniques and different coverages, and so you have different, you know, things you do in certain play calls, and you got to, you know, based on formation, you got to do what's put yourself in the best position to make a play, and so. You know, within the confines of the defense. And so I think that's just kind of what you saw out here was, you know, me making the most of, you know, my responsibility.
Gotcha. Yesterday, you forced 2 fumbles, one unofficially, had an interception. Seems like you're always around the ball. Some people call it luck. Some people call it film watching, all those things. What do you think is the best thing that you do to prepare to to convert turnovers in the game?
I mean, I think you kind of got to more so the intent of taking the ball away, right? That's why we call it takeaways, not turnovers, right? We're always actively trying to go take it away. It's something you practice all the time. It's something you talk about all the time. You know, that's the whole point of playing defense. You know, you're not just on your heels waiting for the offense to kick field goals. You know, you're out here to take the ball away and give it back to your offense.
Gotcha. And I see you punching at the ball a lot, even when you wrap up. Is it something that you kind of work on, or you got a boxing background? Like, where does that come from? Because it's successful. It's like a Charles Tillman almost like.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you practice. I mean, you got to go through it, and you know, it's what you're taught as a defense. You know, see everybody out here punching for the ball. You know, every single time they touch somebody up. You know, it's what you're supposed to do as a defensive player.
I'll be going to a lot of practices for different football teams or whatnot. They work on hitting and getting the ball out, but when it comes to the game, they never do it. But with Jacob, it seems like it's just something that he naturally has. and he doesn't have to work on it. He's saying that he's practicing it, but that could mean just the fact of him being a guy who focuses on the details of his game to the point as to where he's getting all these turnovers because he already mastered the opponent. He already watched hundreds of hours of film already on the opponent to know exactly what's going to happen each and every time to hit that ball out. So Jacob, he different, man. He is different. I'll be surprised. I'll be shocked if he's a bust. I'd be shocked if he's a bust. Shocked.
Player, but yeah, it takes practice. It takes a lot of time to work on your craft, and boxing, it helps. You're throwing a punch, so might as well have a good time into it.
All right, last question, brother. You're good in coverage. You're a sound tackler. You make takeaways. What do you think you should improve in your game, or you want to look to get better at the next level?
Yeah, I think disengaging from blocks. I think the offensive linemen are bigger, stronger, faster, better technique, better with their hands, and so I think that just comes with time. And I think getting reps over and over, putting myself in the right spot, having the right leverage, keeping the right side of my body free, and we'll go from there.
And we watched the film already. He does that well at a good rate already. He does that pretty well. So shout out to Jacob, man. Might be my new favorite linebacker. Might be. This is him against BYU. But you can see him on disengaging with blockers and doing what he's saying that he has to work on. He's doing it. But he said the guys are going to be stronger and faster in the NFL. So that's probably what he means by working on it, just so he can be ready for bigger matchups with better players with experience. But I feel like his gameplay translates to the NFL, even with guys with experience, because of his instincts and knowing what to do and what not to do. And he should be able to produce early in the NFL, very early. Here's TD's reaction to getting on Jacob Rodriguez. Shout out to TD. The legend at this right here.
First Pons Rodriguez Bell.
With the 43rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jacob Rodriguez.
Jacob Rodriguez.
Oh my gosh, they did it!
They did
it!
Wow. Okay. All right.
He fell to 43. I kept telling people, if you move up, you can get a Rodriguez around 36. They got him. I'm like, shit.
You got him. You got it.
That's how you know it's a good pick. Them boys had TD shaking. Them boys had TD shaking by this pick. We didn't really need linebacker, but the fact that we got this good of a linebacker, is just like crazy to believe. We pretty much went best player available at that pick. Best player available. We watched that one already. Here goes Jacob running on the field. Crazy thing is that 10 was his quarterback number when he made that transition. So that's probably why he kept it. He made a name for himself on defense with it too. So, but 54, man, 54 would have been nice right there. J-Rod is a young Zach Thomas. And now what we need to find is a young Dan Marino. That's what we need to find. A young Jason Taylor. A young Sean Smith. A young Rashad Jones. A young Laramie Tunsil. A young Who else can I say? A young Cameron Wake. A young Sam Madison. There's a whole bunch of players I could say that we need a young of, but those are the main players. Jay Ajayi. I remember Jay Ajayi. You know, that 1 year that he had, it was a crazy year. A crazy year, but we needed that in multiple years from Jay Ajayi, but he just gave us that for 1 year, and then he went to the Eagles and won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, young Jason Taylor. That's what I said. Yeah, young Jason Taylor. Jay was that dog. He was for sure. But Jacob, I feel like he's up next, man. Up next. You know, this is how it's going to go. Not a lot of people know about him right now, but once the season starts and they see white linebacker out there moving around making plays, people are like, damn, who is that? They get to searching them up. After a big time game, 15 plus tackles, 2 sacks, 1 interception, that's when everybody gonna know about him. You know, he's one of those type of linebackers. He could get 15, 20 tackles in a game if he really wanted to. 15 to 20. There's another clip of him on the bags. You know, good at the point of attack, you know, nothing too crazy.
Yes, didn't just start his college career at another school. He began at a different position on the other side of the ball. Prior to being one of the nation's toughest defensive forces, the All-American linebacker played at the University of Virginia as a quarterback. After his freshman season, Jacob took a leap of faith and followed his coach, Joey McGuire, to Lubbock, Texas. Jacob came onto the Texas Tech scene with no scholarship, no housing, and no guaranteed roster spot. But he did have a passion to prove himself on defense. As a walk-on, Jacob took out loans and slept on his older brother's floor while working tirelessly to be an asset to the Tech team. All of that hard work paid off. 4 years later, Jacob led Texas Tech to their first ever college football playoff appearance. He dominated along the way, leading the nation with 7 forced fumbles, winning the Lombardi and Butkus Awards, and placing 5th in the Heisman voting as a linebacker, becoming the first linebacker to place in 9 years. While making it to the NFL is undoubtedly a task, Jacob Rodriguez is no stranger to big challenges. His next one begins at the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine.
Hey, shout out to Jacob Rodriguez. Here's the call.
I'd love to. Hey, man, we're fired up. I can't tell you how excited we are to get you here, and we're all about culture, man. You're going to help lead it, so I'm going to put you on the phone with Jeff Haffner.
Yes, sir. What's up, Coach?
Oh, man, I am so fired up, man. You excited?
I can't wait. I can't wait to get down there.
Me too, man. You're made of the right stuff. I love the way you play. You got great instincts, man. You're so tough. You fly around. You're just what we need, man, and I cannot wait to coach you. This is going to be awesome.
My coaches are really excited to have you. Look forward to seeing you down here.
That's Stephen Ross. Yeah, nothing to do with the pick. Nothing to do with the pick. You want to take credit.
When he is going forward, when he is playing in the attack and, you know, basically trying to slip the line of scrimmage and make a play against the run, he is so good. The problem is that when he has to drop. And I think when he has to drop, and if he has to do, he could probably handle some coverage stuff with some tight ends. But if you're talking about being able to really turn and run and do different things in these coverage zones that Christian Parker's probably going to ask about, do some of the different things in terms of his awareness in coverage, his awareness in passing off route concepts and different things like that, I don't always see that as being strong. I know a lot of people say, who cares? We need somebody to stop the run.
Yeah.
We've got somebody here to coach the secondary. They can cover, in the passing game. I just need a linebacker to stand in a zone or run. I just don't think that Jacob Rodriguez is going to check the boxes for them in coverage. The other issue, even though he's a well-built linebacker, I think this is going to be a group that's really particular. As much as they said just bring us good players, this group might be on defense more particular about what they want in players than the Eberflus scheme was. Everybody's got their own measurables. Everybody's got their own things. I think they're going to be really particular about linebacker measurables, traits, all these different things. And one of the things that I think is important.
But everybody has their different opinion in regards to linebackers. Some linebackers, they have to reach that height threshold, the weight threshold. Other linebackers, they just have to be productive, show that you can make plays out there. They don't care about your size. So Rodriguez, he's not that small of a linebacker, 230. But in regards to height, he may be considered small, 6'1". But his film and his stats outweigh his height and his weight. I would take a linebacker high in a draft if they put up 15 plus sacks. That's not going to stop me from getting you, even though you're quite short for a linebacker. If you could show me that you could go out there and consistently get to the quarterback, I don't really care about the height and the weight. And here with Jacob Rodriguez, he consistently showed that he's able to find the ball, make tackles, cause turnovers, and do the whole nine. So I really do like this pick. Okay, there you guys go. There's my next person, the tight end, Sidhu Toure. We already did Caden. Yeah, we already did Caden. We already did Chris Johnson. There we go. Okay. All right, let me get to the comments. Stephen Ross better not do the waddle dance again. I hate whenever he does that. Like, you don't even deserve to do the waddle dance. You haven't gotten us playoff win in years. Nothing. So make J-Rod middle LB and send Brooks off the edge. That could work, or you could switch it up and put J-Rod at the edge and Brooks at middle. You could be versatile with those two linebackers right there. Steelers, James Harrison, LB, smallish. I would have drafted him that year. He went undrafted when he came in. When he came into the NFL, he came in undrafted. I would have definitely took him. A future team leader. Yes, sir, he is future team leader. But that comes with a lot of money too. We're gonna have to pay him way more than that rookie contract. Way more than that contract. Crazy Dolphin, my bad. You changed the name Christian Lee. Okay, I gotta get used to that. But I'm gonna still say Crazy Dolphin. But yeah, next player is Sidhu Toure. Is that how you say it? Sidhu Toure. Well, he used to play basketball? Oh, that's somebody else. Let me search him up. Okay, yeah, he was a tight end at Mississippi State, 6'3", 244 pounds. He's from Florida. Okay, he's from Florida. Shout out to him. With Toure, I watched him in his film already. Guy that you could line up anywhere. Same thing with most tight ends. They got to work on blocking. But I like what I saw from him in regards to being that explosive. That explosive tight end. You can line him up on the outside in the slot. And the only thing you really got to work on is the blocking. He didn't really have a lot of offers coming out of high school. Class of 2021, 6'4", 210. You know, they got him listed as a wide receiver. He probably gained weight and turned into a tight end. He probably went to Arkansas State. You know, maybe a situation happened. He had to transfer and ended up at Mississippi State playing tight end. Probably gained some size and they turned him into a tight end. Maybe the receiving room was full and he turned into a tight end. Wait, he went to Colorado as well. Interesting. Okay. Let me see some pictures. He looked like a big receiver. Hold on. We got enough big receivers already, but we'll take you, Torre. We'll take you. We'll definitely take you. That's crazy. But let's see what else. Go to his NFL draft profile. If I'm not mistaken, he's Canadian. For sports. No, not 24/7. We just came from 24/7 Sports NFL. I don't see an NFL draft prospect profile. Okay, yeah, it's right here. Oh, so he's from England. So I'm guessing he's from England. Then he moved to Florida. If I'm not mistaken, let me know. Average backup, special teamer. This pick, you know who it reminds me of? You remember that one year we picked up Elijah Higgins, that tight end from what was it, Stanford? He was a receiver at first, but he made that transition before going to the NFL to be a tight end. And this guy, it seemed like he already made that transition to be a tight end from being a wide receiver. So now it's just like with the blocking and stuff like that, he has to work on. You know, blocking NFL guys, honing in on the technique of being a good blocker. High school, played 1 year of high school football in the United States in hopes of earning a scholarship. So we played 1 year of high school football. So he still has a lot to learn, but when you watch the tape, it seemed like he's been playing for a little while. So this is a good value pick right here. I'll probably give this pick like a B+. B+. So he started at Arkansas State. His first year, played in 11 games with 2 starts. So he was playing that backup role. He led the team with receiving yards his second year at Arkansas State. 50 receptions, tied a team for the lead with 4 receiving touchdowns, played in 12 games with 11 starts. 2023, he redshirted, sat out due to NCAA transfer rules, transferred to Colorado for spring practices, but moved to MSU for the fall. So he just spent some time at Colorado without even playing. He never even played at Colorado. I wonder what happened there. Started 12 games at tight end, played in all 13 games with 12 starts, 35 catches, 369 yards, 5 touchdowns. Okay, so I feel like he's a culprit of, trying to spread the ball around, so you're not going to get those big time numbers. But if you give him an increased role, he might be able to capitalize on that role and become a good tight end for you in regards to the receiving game, because we got that big tight end from Ohio State who can block, and we got Greg from last year who performed well. But with those guys, I don't really see receiving tight end. With Sadu, I see receiving tight end right here. I really do. Even though I wanted a Trigg from Baylor, he went undrafted and we still couldn't pick him up. I really want a Trigg, but he's with the Cowboys right now, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna play for them. But I'm pretty sure he fell to be undrafted because of that vertical. He had a 29-inch vertical. A 29-inch vertical. So that was crazy right there. Even I have a higher vertical than that. And I'm just being honest. 29 inches? That's insane. But Sadu, it seems like he's a guy that has a lot of upside based off his past. And hopefully he could be a very good receiver for us in our deep tight end room. Not deep, but, we don't have no star tight end. I thought we were going to sign it in Njoku, but he just signed with the Chargers. So, unfortunately. Sadu, let me go to his Instagram. Mismatch, Miami Dolphins. I like that. I like that mismatch. His mom was crying when she heard that he got drafted. I'm gonna try to find a video, but I'm not gonna open it on Instagram. Oh, that's just his relationship. Yeah, shout out to Sadu. Sadu Torre.
Detail, get a look. JD, I know you've been a big part of the international growth.
What that mean right there? Y'all let me know in the comments what this mean. He does this a lot too. I watch some of his tape, and he has like a weird celebration where he takes a shot of something. Oh, the England thing. You know how Englanders, they have like their little pinky sticking out, and then they sip. I think that's what he's trying to do, right? I think so. J-Rod is gifted and wants to improve. Most definitely a young Pat Surtain. J.J. was underrated regardless of his knee issues. Definitely was. Adam Gates messed up Ajayi by sending him to the Eagles, even though Ajayi has a Super Bowl ring. He did, but maybe we got rid of him at the right time. Who knows? We'll never find out. But, Jay Ajayi, he just brought that juice as a running back. And after Jay Ajayi, people started looking at Boise State running backs in a different way. And, Alexander Madison, he started playing well. Ashton Jeanty, you got him. You know, a lot of guys come out of Boise State and become good running backs. Doug Martin, back in the day, the Buccaneers. So they got a good history.
For itself, what Coach B's been able to do with previous tight ends.
What intrigued you so much about coming to play here?
Really, the coaching. I mean, I feel like it speaks for itself what Coach B's been able to do with previous tight ends. But for Golden Gates, Kyle Pitts. I mean, if you start reading out names, I mean, yeah, can't beat it.
Which club do you support back home?
Crystal Palace, we're about 5 minutes away.
What number do you wear?
You know, I feel like we'll see what number I get, but right now my eyes are set on the single digit number, which I know with time you already earned that. So I'm going to bet what.
How much fun has it been playing with Shador and the other offensive weapons on this team?
It's been great playing with Shador. I mean, he puts the ball in the money. Gives me just easy buckets. I mean, it's been a great team. I feel like we're merging really well and connection with Jordan.
What intrigued you so much about coming?
Funny thing is, when Shador was playing, he never threw him the ball. But the reason for that was because he just never got the opportunity to play at Colorado based off his time there. So it seemed like he just went there, went to class, went to practice or whatnot, and he ended up transferring to Mississippi State, pretty much. Here's the Colorado coach that coached up Kyle Pitts and all those other guys talking about him.
Understand right now.
What kind of player do you have in Zico?
You know, he just walked in. Zico is a very gifted, talented player, okay? He doesn't understand right now how to work and how to push on every snap, okay? He can flash and really do some good things, and then he can take a step back. He can take his foot off the gas pedal, okay? I like to say, are you hungry or are you starving, okay? And we need more out of him. He's standing back there in the back. I need him to be a better performer, given more effort every single day for him to do what he wants to do and for us to do what we got. He's got ability, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, okay? I've got to, and he's got to decide to become a tougher player and a player that gives better effort on every single snap. Never taking a down off. That's what we got to have. And he hears me loud and clear.
What kind of player do you have in Zico?
Shout out to Coach Brewster, you know, one of the top tight end coaches, you know, in recent memory. You know, he did recruit a lot of good tight ends throughout these past few years. And, you know, these coaches don't really get talked about enough in regards to what they have done because it's the college level. You know, but he's a very good coach. He's been around and definitely, you know, had good things to say about this tight end right here when he worked with a lot of very good tight ends. And he recruited a lot of very good tight ends. It seemed like he was kind of taking shots at him directly. He was there listening to him. So he knows his potential, but, you know, there's some stuff there as to where he might get lazy on the play. That's what it sounded like, but I may be wrong. You know, but it's good to hear that the coach still has that conviction for him being a good player, no matter the negatives that he may have as him being a player, for sure. So shout out to Coach Brewster. Here's some clips of Sadu. You see? That's the celebration. Everybody gonna start doing that now. Everybody gonna start doing this in the stadium for Sadu if he, like, you know, if he scores something. So that this is probably the new Waddle right here. This might be the new Waddle. Instead of going like this, now everybody gotta go like this. Watch everybody start doing that. I'm telling you right now. You heard it from me. But if he takes this NFL thing serious, you know, he trains like a wide receiver. You know, he becomes advanced at becoming like a wide receiver all over the field. I think he could be a very good underrated tight end. He may not be with the Dolphins throughout his whole career. He might be one of those tight ends that jump around a lot to different teams, that's going to use him for his skill set. But I do see that being a floor. The ceiling, one of the top like receiving tight ends in the league, like top 10, 15. His name is definitely up there, and with Elijah Higgins, yeah, with Elijah Higgins, he was a receiver, like I mentioned, and with Arizona Cardinals having Trey McBride, you don't really get to see Elijah Higgins in that fashion. But Elijah Higgins, he was a good receiver last year in moments for the Cardinals when they needed to use him. So with Torrey, if receiver's injured, that might be his opportunity to show us what he can do on that football field with little experience with the game itself, since he only played 1 year of high school football. So he's kind of new to this. Kind of new, but it goes to show you in regards to how talented he is to be drafted in the 5th round, and he only played 1 year of high school football. Not a lot of people are able to say that they did that in their lifetime. So, yeah, Teray, he's a special guy. Special guy. He has a YouTube page. I don't know if y'all want me to go check out his YouTube page or whatnot. I'll open it in the background. I might come back to it. Here's the mom, her reaction. He happy to go to Miami. He happy. Oh yeah, the clubs, the girls. Oh yeah, we lit. He happy is not a cold team. Very happy.
Boy, let's go. What's up, man? Woo. Yeah, man, let's go.
I think he got picked up by the Eagles. This guy who was jumping up and down. But hey, big accomplishment, man. You can help your family out now. That's the reaction you're gonna get. That's the reaction you're gonna get. Yeah, he moves pretty well. And like I told you, he looked like a receiver out there. He looked like a receiver. What's his 40? Oh, wow, he did a waddle. Good catching ability. He a big celebration guy. Okay. They're not bad, man. Not bad. Like I said, with our tight end room, we needed a guy like this, like explosive guy. So we got that one explosive guy in that room. Maybe we bring in another one to compete with him at camp. Who knows? But I'm happy with this pick. B plus. I give it a B plus. There's potential there. Real potential there to be a very good player, even though he has no experience. He's just one of those gifted people where they were naturally given with size and talent to, capitalize and make it to the NFL quicker than an average person would be able to. Some kids have to start playing ever since 5 years old to be able to make it to that level. But Torre, all he had to do was play one year of high school and ended up getting a scholarship just off of 1 year. So everybody has a different story, and Torre's story is, very gifted story, a very blessed story, and yeah, congratulations to him, man. I respect anybody who makes it to the NFL, even if you're UDFA. You did something. You did something that a lot of people have not gotten a chance to do. To be honest, so a shout to him. Torre's an international player. Yeah, he is. England. I thought he's from Canada. Somebody told me he's from Canada, but I guess not. Maybe special teams for Torre. Yeah, you're gonna have to start off special teams. You get picked in the 5th round. You're gonna start off on special teams. Show your capabilities, and then we're gonna put you in certain packages as to where if we need a look at you at slot or whatnot, we could do that. You in the red zone. Let's say we're blowing a team out and we want to see what the rookie has in like game like situations, put the rookie out there and see what he can do. So I could see him in those situations. I see everybody that we drafted making the team except for 1 or 2 people, in my opinion. You guys let me know how you feel about that. I think every rookie makes this team except for 1 or 2 people. Okay.
Another former Red Wolf.
But like I said, let me know how y'all feel about this pick. We're going to the next person, which is the D end. The D end. Where we can check out one of his videos. His last video was 2 years ago. So I'm guessing he's a vlogger. Oh yeah, we do have Sims too. Sims, he's a pretty good tight end from Green Bay. I'm gonna mute it. I don't know if music copyright.
So Thanksgiving, you guys are probably gonna watch this on Friday. Today's Thursday. Walking to the stadium right now. I'm obviously not traveling with the team, but hey, stay tuned. Been walking up this large hill. Guys, my scooter's broken, so I've just been trekking today or for the past week.
That's how it looking.
This is my
It looked like that in Mississippi.
first egg bowl, so I mean, I've been hearing how great it is, and obviously the practice intensity has been like through the roof. So yeah, I'm hoping to show you guys everything that goes down. Like, it should be a crazy game. We should come out with a win as well, which will send us to a bowl game. So there's a lot on the line. We walk through these metal detectors. So cool. Come through this entrance. You know. Yeah, I do. So cool. Obviously, man was an early bird in it, and I grabbed some sun chips, sandwich. There's only 4 of us here so far. And Asher. You're on the vlog right now, by the way. You take this opportunity to show everyone in the locker room. Got everyone's all laid out. You good, Carson? They already got you. Why are you topless?
Oh, it's hot in here, bro.
Facts. Okay, cool. You're on the vlog right now as well. Yeah, we're on the vlog.
Good vlog.
Copyright. I'll unmute it when he start talking. But Mississippi State looked like a cool school.
Well, routes in there right now.
Pretty big stadium. I guess that's it, man. Y'all go subscribe to this YouTube if y'all want to check him out. Some dude Zico Terone. I'll subscribe to him. Yeah, I said Terone, my bad. I completely butchered the last name. But let me get to the last person that we're doing today, and I'll have other players tomorrow or the next day. Max Llewellyn, DN out of Iowa. Let's go to his draft profile. 6'5", 258 pounds, so he's not that small. Sometimes when you watch the film, it may seem like he's small, but he's not that small. He's from Iowa, so he's from the same place as Caden Proctor. Same place, same area. Average backup or special teamer. You know, a 40-yard dash, not that fast, 4.8. You know, 1.64 second 10-yard split. So not that good of numbers, but it'd be players like this where you underestimate them based off their times, and they go out there and just play football and they perform well. He's one of those type of players, you know. I was expecting him to have better numbers than this based off his film, but this probably dropped him a lot on draft boards whenever you're running a 4.8 at the end. You know, 10-yard split, it's okay. Not that great. Vertical jump, not that great. You know, you see some defensive ends with 42, 45-inch verticals. But you seen 32. Yeah, but little do you know, these guys get into the NFL and they make plays. They make plays, man. Let me try to compare him to Andrew Van Ginkel and see how their numbers compare. Andrew Van Ginkel, NFL. No. Andrew Van Ginkel, NFL Combine. Andrew Van Ginkel, NFL Combine. So Andrew Van Ginkel, he was 6'3" and I have 241 pounds. So this guy is bigger than Van Ginkel. But I see some similarities in their game. You know, Van Ginkel, when he was in high school, he was playing quarterback, receiver, tight end. So he played everything. He was an athlete. Max, I don't think he was as good of an athlete as Van Ginkel, but I still see the similarities in regards to guys that we picked up later in the draft, but that could still be productive players on our defense. So I feel like Max is that next guy up that we added in the 7th round. But we got Van Ginkel in the 5th round. We don't really have the numbers, but Van Ginkel had a 38-inch vertical. Other Max, he had a 32? Yeah, it was a 32. So Van Ginkel numbers look way better than Max's. He didn't record that 40. I wish he had that 40 times so we could compare. That's an important one. But y'all see what I mean, right? In regards to the long, you know, not athletic in regards to combine numbers, but the way they play on that football field, it makes it seem like they're very athletic players. So I wouldn't underestimate Max Llewellyn, just because of what he put up with these numbers. When we watch the tape, you'll see what I mean by that exactly. Let me look for his high school profile if he had any. See what he was rated as. 24/7. Class of 2021, 6'5", 230, D line. He was a 4-star. Okay, he had Iowa State, so he's highly coveted in Iowa, those northern schools. He ended up picking Iowa. Penn State offered him. I'm not saying this guy's a J.J. Watt or what it may be, but Van Ginkel, that's the only guy I can really think about. Van Ginkel. Let me go back. I could have sworn I seen his Instagram. I think this is him. Bro just made it to the NFL. You only got 3,000 followers. That's crazy. That's crazy. But, I like when these guys get picked by Miami. I think these guys like this, they get picked by Miami. They just have different beliefs and morals to the point where they're so successful in Miami because they're not distracted by what another person may be distracted by when they get to Miami. That's why Andrew Van Ginkel was able to come out here and be as successful as he was compared to the guys that we had that were star players. Some of them, their personalities, who they hang around, is going to lead to them being partiers consistently. With these guys who come here, who come from up north to down south, that don't really care about what Miami has to offer. I always vouch for them because, I know, like, even when we're not looking, they're probably doing the right thing. I'm not saying clubbing is wrong, but you could trust them to do the right thing on a daily basis in a city of that magnitude. So Max Llewellyn, I feel like he's going to come in and work. He's a 7th round pick. He's going to remember that. And he's going to prove to people like he should have got picked, way earlier than he did. When you watch the tape, man, he's just special at what he does. I'm not going to say he was the best edge rusher in this whole draft class, but, he had like a twitch about him, a canny twitch about him to like actually work moves on offensive linemen. He had like a technique about him. He's not just rushing just to rush. He's rushing with agenda whenever he rushes. So we're gonna watch some clips of him on X, and that's gonna be it. I might have a few other topics to talk about, but let's check it out. What we got? We have him right here at the Senior Bowl. Let's check this out. He could have stayed lower, a little lower on that.
pass rusher. Your spin move. It seems like that's one of your go-to moves as a pass rusher. How did you develop it, and what makes it so effective?
I mean, honestly, like it was something I kind of played around with in high school. And then, the good thing about Iowa is like you're going to get a lot of reps there. And as a freshman, like I was on the scout team, so at the end of the day, like you really don't care what the scouts do. So, I'd see like a spin move of somebody doing it in the league, and I'd take it off to practice and just kind of play around with it, and just kind of developed it over the years. But so one of my go-to moves, I'm a big setup guy, and pairs well with my other moves.
How do you kind of set it up? Against offensive tackles, is it something that you kind of just throw in their outside shoulder? Or?
Right. Yeah. So you gotta build off that. So I'll throw a couple speed moves in, and then after they're kind of expecting it, and kind of turn their shoulders. That's the biggest thing when they turn their shoulders. That kind of gives you the green light to make an inside move.
How do you your spin move? It seems like
he has the best spin move I've seen in a while. The best one, in my opinion. Last person that I remember with a great spin move, Dwight Freeney. I'm not saying he's the next Dwight Freeney, but just somebody who moves that you knew like they used it consistently on a good basis. He's one of those people that I've seen recently. So be on the lookout for him, man. You're gonna see him on the edge, and you're gonna be like, man, he don't fit Miami. But when he make plays out there, he's gonna look perfect in Miami. Perfect. All right, here's some clips of Llewellyn. You see, come on, man. And he's successful at it too. Like, it's working. Them boys falling for it. Like, not everybody could do a spin move, bro. Not everybody could do a spin move, but he does it so well, even though you're in a 4.8. His shuttle times are not that great. He just has like a canny act of recreating the spin moves in different ways. He's doing like the spin in the club. Come on, man. Like, tackles are not even getting their hands on him. Like third down situations, this is going to be the guy that we can get in there and he could surprisingly get, pressures, He get to the backfield quick and open up stuff for Chop Robinson to get there, for Kenneth Grant to get there, for Zach Sealer to get there, for all the other edge guys. And I feel like he gonna be able to fit in the NFL pretty well. You 6'5", 258. You have enough size to go up against these tackles, so it shouldn't be an issue. And you're showing that here, with a guy with more size than expected at edge, quite agile, really agile. Based off the numbers, you're not going to see that, but you just got to watch the tape. Like, damn, he's moving like he's like 225. I'm not saying move him to linebacker, but he has that size to work in the league. In my opinion, he has it. And he went to Iowa. He went up against good linemen consistently. So that should be another thing that we got to look at in this landscape in regards to him actually being a good player. He's one of the guys I think that could make the team. He's one of the guys. Even though we got him in the 7th round, he has a chance. He had a 9.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, team's high. I want to see what his pressure rating is. His pressure rating, it got to be up there. Got to be up there. You see, he be having tackles and spin cycles off his spin move. It's like ridiculous. Like stuff like that, I don't even think you could work on. You could try your best, but what he's doing, it seems like he just got it. That's that elite trait that he has, that spin move. Whatever move it is, he got that elite trait. You know, if you could work a spin move like that, imagine the other moves that you can do as a defensive end. He probably got a lot up his sleeve. He probably got a lot up his sleeve. That led to a pick. I'm telling you, man, he making the team, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. He is making the team.
Defensive end Max. One of the biggest day 3 standouts here at the Senior Bowl, I think, was Iowa defensive end Max Llewellyn. Now, this is a dude who's got really good length, really good size for the defensive end spot, and we saw him come up big on a couple of plays, specifically the team drill stuff. It's so competitive down here in the red zone, and he got his former teammate Jennings Dunker pretty good on a run defense play. He was able to get into the backfield immediately with a good little push-pull. He is not looking overwhelmed at all whatsoever, and he's looking like a future NFL player as a run defender and a pass rusher. One of the biggest day 3 standouts here at the Senior Bowl, I think, was Iowa defensive end Max Llewellyn. Now, this is a dude who's got really good length, really good size for the defensive end spot, and we saw him come up big on a couple of.
A shout out to Llewellyn. Had a good Senior Bowl day. Here I got another play for you. You know, he's not scared to use it in game action too. This is like a live 11 on 11. He's right here at the edge. Let's see what he does. They was about to double team him too. So at this point, you know, they can't block you pressuring here. So somebody could come around, boom. This linebacker, you could come, boom, get this guy right here. You know, he's opening up stuff for the rest of the defense. So we can't expect too much out of Max. We can't expect him to do too much for this team right away. But one thing we can expect is for him to get in the backfield. You know, I feel like you could put him up against like some of the top tier tackles. He's gonna be able to win at least three reps against like the top tier tackles. 3 reps, and those 3 reps will be effective to the point as to where, you know, the quarterback may throw it too quick and it leads to an interception, or it may cause a turnover in some fashion just based off the type of pressures that Max could supply to this team. So this pick, I gave it an A-. Even though it's a 7th-round pick, you know, they still got value here with an edge guy that we actually really did need. A lot of our guys that we drafted came from the Senior Bowl. A lot of our guys. Did you see how fast he got there? Fernando Mendoza was like, "Oh snap! I gotta get rid of the ball." Got rid of it too quick. Boom. That could have been 3rd down. Now it's 4th down. Now the team has to punt the ball, give our offense the ball back. You know, if we're not gonna have an elite edge rusher on our team, we might as well make sure we get guys who can get back there at least. They don't have to be elite, but just as long as they can get back there and disrupt the play, we can work with that, and it will make everybody else better. Instead of us going to go trade for Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or whatnot, we have guys that could work well together based off their skill sets and their traits, and it could make everybody else on the defense that much better just by you honing in on what you're really good at and how that can help this team be together as one, and we could be one of those top 15 defenses. You know, so I'm pretty sure the Dolphins picked Max just based off the stuff that we're seeing on the film itself. Like stuff like that you cannot teach. And that's how you should draft. Like if you're drafting later in the draft, make sure whoever you pick has one elite trait. You're probably not going to get a very good player, but if you see something special about that player, pick them up in the later rounds. Like, take a shot, And I like the shot that they took with this one. In the past few years, some of the shots that the Dolphins have taken, I don't really like them. But with these shots that the Dolphins took, I'm okay with it. We took shots at receiver. Hopefully one pans out. We took shots. We only took one defensive end, right? If you want to count Trey Moore, who knows? But, I like the shots that we took in this draft. I really did. I can't really complain about one pick, to be honest. I can't complain. There's not one pick I don't like. At first, I didn't like the Caden Proctor pick, and I didn't like the tight end pick from Ohio State. But now they've grown on me. Tomorrow I'll be talking about those other picks. But today we just did 5. This is the last pick right here. But yeah, what else we got? Here we have Yaha Black. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but former teammate. I think he's in the NFL now. He's talking about Max and how his spin move helps everybody to try to become better.
Like, we all love to see it. We all have that spin move, man. I love to see it. Love to see it. And like, he doesn't
love to see it. I love to see it.
And you're like, man, will that really work in game? And then he does it in game and he gets a sack. And it really just like, we all love to see it. We all hype him up for that.
It worked in a game. It worked in a Senior Bowl. It got to work in the NFL, right? It got to, right? So yeah, hopefully I convinced y'all to actually like this last pick right here. This pick, I definitely was one of the likers of this one.
Oh, this is great. I mean, a place like this, like, you're going against the best of the best. Like, it feels good to get out here, run around with the guys a little bit. I mean, so far it's an.
Bro, all he needs is tattoos, and we got another Max Crosby. That's all he needs. Just get some tattoos. We got another Max Crosby right here in Miami.
Awesome experience.
Yeah, I mean, one day practice in so far. How the coaches? What's the vibe you're getting from from the coaches and all the NFL personnel that's in and around you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about intensity. It's all about how bad you want to do this. What are you willing to do out here? Just kind of the energy you bring. So yeah, every day in meetings, pretty much the whole day. I mean, we're juiced up. Really bring the energy.
Yeah, you have your film shows obviously some really high level pass rush skills. I know you could tell me differently. Is that your bread and butter? That's what you're going to offer to the NFL. Like, what's the one thing that you're hanging your hat on that the NFL teams are going to love when they watch your film or watch you play this weekend?
Obviously, I think I got great pass rush, but one thing that you can't really teach is effort. I want to be a guy who you never have to question if he's going to show up every day. And it costs nothing. You don't have to be talented. Effort's just something that you either have or you don't. And so I really. That's the foundation of what I do is effort, and just trying to make an impact every play.
I love that. That's a great answer. Speaking of that effort, you're lined up in the one-on-ones over there against Jen. Are you running through his chest or not?
Against Dunk?
Yeah,
Dunk's a big dude, bro. But if I have to do it, then I'll do it.
Give me some self-scouting. What's the one thing you want to improve on before the draft?
I think I just want to show that I can set the edge, play the run. Just be the most physical player I can be.
Odd man front, even man front. You like the hand in the dirt. What's your preference?
Don't matter, man. I'm just here to do my job. My job is to have a hand in the dirt. My job is to set the edge. I'll do it.
Yeah. Max, listen, wishing you nothing but health and success the whole process along the way. I know we're going to hear your name called in April.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
All right.
Appreciate you.
You got it, man.
Yeah, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah, of course.
Shout out to Max, man. Seems like a cool guy.
Last year, what's it been like seeing Max from high school to now, and the season he had last year, and couple guys from Urbandale getting some big opportunities here this season.
Yeah, that's super cool to be able to take it back and just realize we grew up together. It wasn't just high school. So we lived in Urbandale, and his dad, Sean, after a game or something, he'd post a picture of us just playing. It was called Little Jayhawk. It's Urbandale's just little, like, 1st through 5th grade football league, and he would post a picture of me and Max on that team. So it's super cool to just see how far back we go playing football or basketball or baseball, whatever it is. So it's really cool to be on one of the biggest stages in college football playing together now.
What were the positions back then?
A lot different. Max, so I was taller than Max, like, all growing up. And I think it was like sophomore year, he caught up to me. We were about eye level, and then junior and senior year, he skyrocketed up. So I was actually on the D line. He was more of like a safety linebacker type. And then, here it just kind of flip-flops.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, guys, this guy's a special cat, man. Get a good relationship with Max Crosby. I'm seeing a lot of Max with how he looks. Maybe it's the jersey number, the stature. It looks like Max Crosby.
I'm really excited to be a true edge setter. This is going to be, a chance for me to fire off the ball and really show, my tenacity in the run game. But yeah, setting an edge just starts with violence, and pairing that with fundamentals, which I think I'm more than capable of doing. So I'm really excited to showcase my skills. I'm really excited to be.
Okay.
Awesome going against guys like that because they're just such high level athletes and they really know what they're doing. And it's that classic iron sharpens iron. I came in with Doug. I mean, Doug's, I can't say enough good things about him. Like he's really somebody who understands, the game of football. And just for me to be able to work against him for 5 years was probably the biggest impact on my entire career there. It's a blessing going against the offensive line, that well coached and that fundamentally sound.
Acts like going against what ended up being the nation's best offensive.
I mean, my sophomore year, I was like 6'3", 160. Like, I was a tiny, skinny kid. It was just, I was pretty small. I mean, my sophomore year, I was like 6'3", 160. Like, I was a tiny, skinny kid. So I was really just, working hard to gain as much weight as possible. And I didn't really have a whole lot of technique in high school. I kind of just ran as fast as I could to the ball. And now that I'm here, I've been able to polish some things up, and it's been working out. It was just,
Yeah, you came a long way, man. A long way.
Oh yeah, like it's time to go. It's time to play some snaps. Dad's the head coach, and I played safety. I played one game, and then, after further evaluation, he's like, "Hey man, like, you're done. Like, you're just not there yet. Like, love you to death, but you got to do something about that weight." And so I was crushed. I'm like, "You motherfucker!" Like,
Hold on a second. Oh my God, this is incredible. You really your dad, head coach of the freshman football team at Urbandale, played you for one game at safety.
Yep.
And you got benched.
That's right. But he's my.
You gotta respect it. Just because you're my son, if you trash, I'm gonna bench you. I have to teach you a lesson. But thank God for that. Now that made that transition to becoming a defensive end, and look where he at right now in the NFL.
My dad, he felt bad for me. So we would do, again, effort and intensity was always there. So we had this one play where I trot out there as a receiver, and it was this crack toss play. And I remember, it might still be out there, but I remember freshman year, I just had a highlight reel. It was 45 seconds long of just these crack plays. I just blindside blocked these kids, and that's all I did the entire.
Right.
And
I get the highlights. It's still highlights regardless, right? It doesn't matter.
I thought it was sick.
So you're sitting here telling me freshman year, No one would have guessed that you're going to be a Division I football player.
I mean, I was fingers crossed. Let me get to Warburg.
You see, that's crazy. That is crazy right there. So that was the last player I was going to do today. I'm gonna show y'all one more thing. 1 second. If y'all got anything else to say before I end the stream, type it in the chat. I'm gonna just show y'all this one picture. So right here, goes to show you 40 times do not matter. All-time fastest wide receiver, 40 times. You got Xavier Worthy. You know, he shows some flashes with Patrick Mahomes, but they drafted him to be that next Tyreek Hill, and he hasn't been that at all. Hasn't been that. So that goes to show you that 4.21 speed, it doesn't even matter. You know, you might as well play cornerback with this speed if you're not going to be able to produce that receiver, to be honest. You know, you got Henry Ruggs. You know, he could have been special, but he went through that situation, that car accident. So we don't really know what Henry Ruggs could have been. You know, right now he's trying to make that comeback. So we can see if speed really does matter with him. But as of right now, we can't really say that because he's been locked up these past few years. So that's another one. John Ross, man, I thought he was going to be one of them ones, man. I thought he was going to be one of them ones, but didn't work out. I think he probably went to the wrong team. He got drafted to the Bengals. I wish he went to a better team that could have used his skill set in a better way. Probably would have changed the trajectory of his career. But as of right now, we can't go back in time. And John Ross, you know, hasn't really lived up to the 40 time. Marquise Godwin, I'm not too sure. 4.27. He's been in the league for a little while, so I wouldn't consider him a bust, you know, but he never lived up to wide receiver one level, even though he has a 4.27 speed. You know, most people probably not keeping up with you. So you should be able to perform with this type of speed, but he hasn't lived up to that based off his past few years. So 40 didn't work out in this scenario. It did, but it didn't. Tyquan Thornton, 4.28. Never really lived up to that receiver one level, you know, contributed to a lot of teams. You know, I think he with the Chiefs right now. But the 4.28 is not justifiable in regards to him being a receiver one. JJ Nelson, another fast guy, never really lived up to the speed. Jacoby Ford, shout out to him. He's from Palm Beach. You know, he produced but never lived up to the speed like receiver one that you would want from a guy this fast. Matthew Golden, you know, he just got drafted last year. You still got to see with him. Thornton, a 4.3. We still got to see with him. He didn't really produce last year. He got a new quarterback. We got to see what he does with that quarterback. And Hayward Bay. He had a long NFL career, a bigger guy with that speed, you know, but just the top 10 guys on the list, most of them don't work out. You think that when a player has this type of speed, there's no way an actual human could keep up with them. But, you know, you always got to find a way. But on top of that, whenever you have a guy this fast, you're making your coverage different, so your team doesn't have to deal with them getting bombed all the time. So that kind of plays a role in regards to them not being able to produce, you know, a lot of yards like you think they would, just based off the speed itself. So, you know, I'm not saying these guys are bad players. I'm just saying, like, the speed doesn't matter. You know, the tape does. You know, this is just a plus just to confirm whatever we see on film. You know, but this is just something for somebody to see who think that they really need a fast 40. You do, but you really don't. Just as long as you're putting in that work and it's showing up on film, that'll make everything work out for you in the long run, for sure. Let me get to the comments. Max Llewellyn, B- with a lot of potential. Yeah. I gave it a B plus, a B, just a regular B. That's what I would give it. I'll give y'all a few more minutes to say what y'all gotta say. We got the Raiders. Kirk Cousins throwing. That's Jalen Naylor right there. Brock Bowers. You might as well go ball, Brock. You might as well go ball, man. We'll see if Kirk Cousins could keep these guys afloat. You know, you got Ashton Genty. You got Washington that they just added from Arkansas. You know, they got pieces. You know, they still need work. This is going to be a tough division. Chargers look like they're going to be good again. Chiefs, I don't think Andy Reid is going to accept what happened last year. Broncos, that defense is tough, so it might be the Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, then the Raiders. But I feel like the Raiders going to win more games than they did last year. You know, so. But yeah, man, it's been on here for 3.5 hours. You're welcome. Giving y'all information about some of these draft picks. I'll try to be back tomorrow to give more insight on some other picks. If not, it will be the next day for sure. I appreciate Crazy Dolphins putting up. Raph putting up. Who else put up? John Ross, appreciate you for putting up. Black 305, appreciate you for putting up. Stan Man 954, appreciate you, my boy. That's about it, man. Just stay tuned in. Subscribe to the page if you want more content like this. I'll be talking about the Dolphins. If this page get big enough, I'll do more than just the Dolphins. You know, but Dolphins will always be the main team. I will be out there this season. Maybe I'll do streaming at the games or something like that. Who knows? We're gonna see. Man. But hey, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. You already know what it is. DGE, Dolphin Gang Entertainment, and I'm going.